Okay, boom. That there. Should be maybe finished tonight, I think. I can. There's your hydrate, Sasha. And I'll give you another one. We can get back to where we died at real fast. I think. This way. Okay. People are fighting. Oh, they're in prison. That's what this is. Okay. Lose unity and reputation if used to help lose a bunch of. We're gonna ask Father. I use mine. Career is not high enough. Okay. Ask Father for help. I think we did that last time. How are you doing, Sasha? Father Mark. Oh, and then this is gonna be. Yep, I remember this one. Or prosecute him with the input. That I'm free, career goes down, but money goes. Either way, looks like my career is. We'll judge him because that bumps our diplomacy. I think I did that last time too. Ooh. Oh yeah. Yes, please get my family wealth up some. We accepted that deal last time. I remember that. Buckle in the shop. Oh, I remember this one. Yeah. Ooh, we're gonna punish the Steiners. That's what happened. We did that last time too. I'm a masterful diplomat, though. Okay, our friend needs our help. I remember that. I'm gonna die, aren't I? It'll be my third death, won't it? Ah, fuck. You've been best friends with Thomas ever since you were little boys. Really think, yeah. Okay. Case against Scotland. Wait, why can't I? This is not in hiding. I've been taken into custody. We'll probably fucking die if we don't. What's up next? Ism stuff. Festival time. Build a mother, get our unity. Octavian, you do not see each other very often. Oh, wait, no, but... Okay, I remember this. He's talking about... Alright, oh, this... This one is so much better. Get will... We'll get +1 baby. You carefully inquire about the lost knowledge Octavia was speaking of. What is she trying to find in these ancient manuscripts? Octavia responds with a playful smile, takes your hand and leads you into her chambers. There, under the flickering candlelight, she covers you with a semi-transparent gold-colored veil. Then, puts a mysterious mask of the same color over your face. Don't speak. You'll understand. Let me in. Octavia entwines her fingers with yours and starts singing. You have never heard this language before. The song is a slow, inhuman drawl. At first, nothing happens. You listen to Octavia's song, watching the glimmer of the candlelight on her face and the walls. Walls of her chamber, everything is gently shifting. And when she cometh near, fear not, but hasten not toward her. Octavia's lips are not moving. The words seem to take shape inside your head by themselves. The skin of your limbs has taken on a different hue. Now it is blue like that of the Archanians. Who's sitting beside you? Who is sitting opposite you? Octavia? Yourself? You cannot tell anymore. Everything has become one. The world fades away and shatters. Your bodies, the walls, the rooms, the buildings, the city, everything grows pale and dissolves into the light. All of it, Allah, the empire, the twin gods themselves, is but a dream. You have wandered through this dream all your life. You come to your senses in the dead of night in Lady Melanitis' bed. She is lying beside you, asleep, naked, her black hair spilled across the pillow. You run your trembling fingers over her skin. Octavia is sleeping soundly. Nice! I would like to finish this game tonight. I think we can. We just have to. Peacetime ends soon. Sure. It doesn't really end soon, actually. There's still quite a few years. What? Alright, hold on. Shit. Oh no, I don't want to go to my third death all fucking ready. Let's see, what do I need to sentence him? It looks like, okay, so because I'm the protector of the people, I don't need the evidence. We'll just bump our career up. We're not gonna waste our time. Father's right, there's no reason to risk your well-being and the well-being of your friends and family like this. This way you will not antagonize the aristocracy. With no noble human or Archnean perceiving you as a threat, your career will be secure, and it may even flourish. We will refrain from pursuing Aten for now and commit only the minimum effort necessary to this case. Without leaving your office, you draw up a detailed list of Aten's potential transgressions and indicate that acquiring credible evidence for these crimes is currently impossible. Legion officers who have fallen victim to Aten's sword are unlikely to speak of the duels, anxious as they are to avoid getting challenged again. For many of them, another duel would be their last. The lack of formal complaints from the officers or their families makes inaction even easier. The officers met their death in the line of duty. What else is there to say? You add these conclusions to the thin folder against Aten, and file it away and move on to other cases. One day, Prefect Alborn pays you a visit to see your progress firsthand. Are you saying you've learned nothing else of note, Brante? Pity. The Legion soldiers are not the only ones who fear Commander Aten, it seems. I hoped you would be braver than your father, but this is understandable. A dangerous case like this is nothing but a hindrance to a promising young judge who seeks to advance his career, is it not? Well then, it saddens me to say it, but so far we lack the evidence to have the commander indicted, especially since he is a highborn Archnean. This is only the beginning. The situation could change at any time. I see you've put away Aten's case to focus on others. Quite sensible, seeing as we have no alternative right now. If we want to have any chance of getting him indicted in court, we need to make the nobles in the province recognize duels as acts of murder. This means defying a tradition of old. Yep. Stefan's gambit. Oh, yeah. No. Fuck you, Stefan. Again, this is her asking about. Gotta refuse, because last time it ended very poorly for us. Well, that made me feel bad, though. Oh, Elam. I remember this. Oh, yeah. Ball. Latari thing. Enter. Justice goes. Ooh. Legitimize it. Do that again. Did that last time. We're almost back to where we were before we died. Almost to new stuff. Oh yeah, getting threatened by these two. Nope, I will not fight him. I'll just put him at ease. We are a manipulator, as what we did last time. You're almost a masterful manipulator. Let's see. Oh, El Torvio, I remember this one too. If I pronounce the court, career tanks, justice goes up, reputation. Fine him. No. I think we sentenced him to capital punishment last time too. But I have everything I need to sentence him. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. How do I check my career? Close to 1, I'm just in a dangerous position. Not gonna let him die. We're gonna eliminate Otten's henchmen. I'm not going to... I'm gonna risk my job. Yeah, I remember this thing too. We're gonna have to take the family reputation tanks. No. I don't know what I did to get our reputation so low. Let's see. We'll ask Father for help. And we just gotta be careful about, we can't get our family reputation to 0. Oh yeah, the bomb. Okay, shelter. Justice goes down, unity goes up. Wealth goes up. Conduct an investigation. Protect the people on the list. No, that's not good. Well, I need this to be at an 8 or a 9. I think we'll conduct an investigation. Okay. Bump up our career. keep our career in a somewhat safe spot. You rise from your chair, ready to answer the advisor. You cannot fulfill his order until you have legal grounds for arresting and executing these people. You serve the law and you will never break it, no matter what you might stand to gain. You will not falsify a case and you will not hang people on unproven charges. Howdy, Dorada. How are you doing? We're pretty much caught up now, Dorada. But our family reputation is at a 1. Haha. Tempest. Making fast. See, if I turn to her for aid. Gaius Laxus. Justice goes down by 1, which is fine. Or if we provoke him. I die. Stinky feet. Fucking false. I wash my feet. They're nice and clean. Howdy, Clay. Hold on. Is Streamlabs fucking up? Streamlabs, play the sounds. Streamlabs. Or not Streamlabs. Stream Elements. OBS. Work. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Come on. Do it. Do it. Alert. Interact. That doesn't do what I wanted it to do. Nope. Oh. Huh. Is Twitch poopy today, I guess? I'm too lazy to... I'm too fucking lazy. Stop right there, criminal scum. I see you have no honor and cannot find him guilty as the law demands. Actually, the law demands that... Well, actually, no, we are going to pardon him. We're going to turn to our girlfriend that's in high society to pardon him for us. Because we are a fucking manipulator. As passions in the courtroom run high, we look around to find Octavia. Lady Milonitis returns your gaze with a calm, wry smile. Elegant as ever. You take advantage of the turmoil to quickly walk over to Octavia and whisper into her ear. You politely ask the Archduke's daughter to save you from the peril of condemning an Archnean. Your entire future could be ruined by this verdict. Octavia's influence is more than sufficient to make everybody take heed. Very well, my sweet human. After all, is there any point in power if you never abuse it? Fucking facts! Are you really in a position of power if you don't abuse it? Like, come on. Octavia rises and proceeds elegantly to the podium, her emerald green dress trailing triumphantly behind her. The courtroom immediately falls silent. Everyone pricks up their ears. Ladies and gentlemen, I must confess I've grown quite weary of this trial. But as an Archnean, I feel a duty to save my kinsmen from mistreatment of any sort. In the name of the Milonitis dynasty, I hereby pardon Anthony Fess on behalf of the Archduke. May he never again utter rebellious speeches or slay Legion soldiers lest he part with his sword. The Archduke has forgiven you, Sir Fess. For now, you are all free to leave. Octavia nonchalantly returns to her seat. Flabbergasted, Elborn can only announce the end of the trial. The nobles all gasp and shout, gossiping about the deranged act of the Archduke's daughter. Anthony Fess bows stiffly to Octavia and leaves the courtroom. You see, Ryan, I will spare no expense for you, my human. And I have taken somewhat of a liking to this Anthony Fess. He has no qualms about defying rules of any sort. And I can already imagine my father's fury when he hears of my pardon. What was he gonna do? Take me to court? Ha! Your chance to set a precedent against an Archnean in court is gone. Anthony Fest roams free now in spite of his outright call for revolt. The letter arrives almost immediately after the trial bearing the Overseer's seal. You steel yourself for the worst, but to your surprise, Gaius Tempest is delighted. Splendid work, Judge Brante. I have no idea how you managed to get the Archduke's progeny involved in this case, but the rebellious young Fest is his problem now. I was right to assign a delicate matter of such importance to you. Elborn will be told to promote you as soon as possible. I need more intelligent, reliable men like you at the prefecture. Like, this ain't gonna get fucked up, though. We'll still be a protector of the people, right? We just gotta keep justice at an 8. Oh, this is to the ball. Okay. Remy Alberto wants to talk to me. Yeah, I remember this. Pick this one because we've seen it. Fuck. And I can't agree because I made the deal with Egmont. Fuck! God damn, that would have been amazing if I... Damn. Just protect the family. I think I did that last time. We still have 4 in our career, so that's okay. Oh, Mama's dying. Yep. Okay. Share your strength with Mother. We unite the family. What happens if we unite? What goes wrong? Literally nothing is wrong. Yeah, this is just perfect. We're gonna save Mother's life this time, Tarada. The family won't fall apart this time, Tarada. Let's go. Unite the family. For the sake of Mother's recovery, you put an end to the quarrel that is tearing your family apart. You have to make Gloria a part of the Brante house. Even if... Hold on, what? I didn't say I'm not... What? You refuse to accept this. Mother must not die. The Brante family must not fall apart. For years and years, you have fought tooth and nail to keep this family united, working hard to resolve every quarrel. You never conspired against Stefan, and you never stabbed Gloria in the back. Now it is time to take family matters into your own hands. This family strife must end. You lean down. You learn. Yeah, there are so many spelling errors in this game. That throws me. It throws me out of the loop. Or it kind of ruins the pacing a bit. It sucks, but the game is still so good. You lean down to Mother's ear and whisper, "No, Mother has not failed anyone. She has always given her all to this family. She taught you well, and she took good care of you. She has nothing whatsoever to blame herself for. Your family is torn apart by quarrels, but you are still a family because of Mother. There's no right to abandon you in this dark hour." With a great effort, Mother lifts her head slightly. She looks over the faces of her family huddled around her bed. Gloria, with her arms folded on her chest in an unspoken prayer. Nathan, pressing himself timidly against his sister. A faint, humble glimmer of hope appears in Mother's eyes. We are still a family. You stroke Mother's hair gently. Yes, we are. We are all Brantes. We are a family, and as long as we remember that we are one, we will weather any storm and overcome any strife. Times are changing, and the family must face these changes. But was it not Mother who taught us to face life with humility? Suddenly, there's a flurry of footsteps outside the door. Everyone's surprised. Stefan runs into Mother's bedroom, flustered. He has been gone for so long. Frightened, Gloria leaps from her seat and stands between him and Mother. But Stefan ignores her and walks straight to the bed. Lydia! I hurried back home as soon as I could. Your words and Stefan's sudden show of concern transform Mother, bringing her back to life before your very eyes. Sits up in bed, the color returns to her pallid cheeks. Mother, you're not leaving us, brother. Your words are better than any medicine. Lydia. Ryan is right. I simply cannot abandon you like this. The twins only know what you'll get up to without me around. You look back at your flustered family and address them fervently from the bottom of your heart. We nearly brought a terrible woe upon ourselves, you tell them. This is all the result of our strife, mistrust, and animosity. You stare first at Stefan, then at Gloria. They both remain silent, burning with shame. You say that this cannot continue. It's time for them to wise up and stop scheming against one another. Think I wouldn't love to live in a calm, peaceful home? I'm just defending myself against Stefan's attempts to drive me out. He's the one who's obsessed with our family's reputation. Agitated Stefan interrupts her. All I'm doing is trying to build a life for you. We can't legally accept you into our family just like that. Don't you understand? The Brante family has to be ennobled by the sword. There's nothing more important than that. Then Stefan glances at Mother, who returned from the brink a mere moment ago, and his voice trails off. You ask your brother sternly, has he considered the price our family must pay to be ennobled by the sword? Is Stefan ready to sacrifice the family just to have it ennobled? We're just a step away from filling our grandfather's greatest mission, and now you want me to reject it? You reply to your brother calmly. It is time for us all to decide what is most important, our family's standing or our happiness. Stefan grows quiet as he ponders your words. Father suddenly interjects. We will choose happiness, Stefan. I am the Brante patriarch. I bear the responsibility for our family, and if the road to the sword will cost our family this much, then we must remain as we are. Stefan is silent. His throat twitches now and then, as though he is trying to swallow something. Gloria and Nathan watch him, both hopeful. Your elder brother stands up and starts pacing around the room. His face convulses. He is on the verge of tears. Father, I agree. I need to acknowledge that I failed to fulfill Grandfather's mission. Well, so be it. Perhaps future generations of Brontes will be ennobled by the sword, but right now our duty is to preserve this family. Gloria, for the sake of our entire family, you must become a Brante once and for all. Gloria's mouth is agape. I cannot believe her ears. You reach over and give her the smallest push. Ever so slowly, she walks towards Stefan and bows. And I never dreamed I'll never forget this. Father opens his arms wide for Gloria. Honor does not frighten me. Gossip does not frighten me. Come to me, my daughter, Gloria Brante. Yep, Father. Days pass and Mother's condition continues to improve. The illness that once seemed so intractable slowly releases her from its clutches, and the enmity between Stefan and Gloria, the strife that has poisoned the family, is now finally gone. Alright, so we're gonna lose a bunch of... We're probably gonna lose our like, one remaining reputation. Goddamn, so many events are happening! Your work for the day is finally done. You hurry to the family home where peace and tranquility dwell again at last. Still, you have grown used to the idea that this peace could be disturbed at any moment. As you enter, Father walks down the stairs to greet you. He smiles, happily and warmly. Ryan, my dear son, you're spending so much time at work. Look, you can barely stand. You need some rest. Please stay at home with us for a while. Surely your work can wait. You've earned yourself a moment of respite. Consider his words for a moment and agree. Overjoyed, Father takes your hand and leads you into the sitting room. You spend several days resting in the family home where your troubles are distant and your family is close. They tell you their news, you carefully share yours. You spend the evenings together on the porch, just like in the good old days, listening to Father's stories of your family's history, sharing laughter over memories of childhood. It is late now. Cicadas buzz quietly in the garden. The windows of the bedrooms glow with a warm light. You recline in a wicker chair with a glass of good wine. There is no place like home. We're one big happy family. Oh, this is gonna be the hunt for Octavia thing. Okay. Messages. Yeah, this is a letter from the Archduke. Octavia has... Yeah. Oh no! Oh no! Fuck! There's no good. We don't have reputation. Oh no! What the fuck happens if my reputation goes to 0? I mean, I feel like we'll still be able to convict him, right? Right? Okay, if it's branded by if we're branded by dishonor though, we can't face him in the court of honor, which that's fine. We can't even pursue that. So I think all right, we're going to accept her transformation cuz she's our love. We love her now. The creature that was once Octavia Milonitis turns away and slowly departs as though swimming through invisible water. You shake off your amazement at witnessing this incredible creature. Tell yourself again and again that this is still Octavia, your beloved. Just a fucking alien. With determination, you hurry after the creature and put your hand on its shoulder. Its body is so delicate now, so fragile that you fear to shatter it with a single touch. The gaze of its abyssal almond-shaped eyes is utterly inhuman. You know nothing of what has happened to her. You tell the reborn Octavia, but your feelings for her remain the same. No matter what, you accept her transformation and will remain by her side in your thoughts and actions. Even if she is no longer the woman you knew. The creature that calls itself Latari reacts with a shadow of a smile that reminds you of the old Octavia. You'd be glad to hear that. We thank you, Ryan Brante. The one called Octavia's feelings for you were strong. We will remember you and leave a place for you in this illusory world until it burns away in the flames of her mind. You will remain connected until the world of the one called Octavia Milonitis ceases to exist. She must walk her path alone. You cannot hate her, nor can you hinder her. The time has come for the one called Octavia to see the world anew. She wishes to bid you farewell. Latari, this strange creature suddenly grasps your hand and holds it to its face, inhaling the scent of your skin. Your body reacts to this touch with a flurry of emotions and sensations you cannot even attempt to describe. Finally, the creature once known throughout the province as Octavia Milonitis floats down the stairs and disappears from sight. Dazed you, yep, okay. Tell him we failed. And we are disgraced now. Hydrate, here you go, Sasha. God, so many events are popping up. The sitting room is, oh yeah, this thing. I mean, yeah, we were gonna. Our because because of unifying the family, that kills our reputation because of Gloria. So it was gonna go down to 0 anyway. Nope, Thomas's wedding. Yep. Bear witness to the wedding vows we did last time. For our bro Thomas. Thomas is now a farmer. The last few months have been marked by a welcome absence of quarreling at the Brante estate. Your only concern these days is the price you have had to pay for this peace. Today you come home late, wrung dry after a day of work and worry. Everyone is sound asleep. You are making your way to your bedroom when you hear a suspicious noise come. Oh no. And protect him this time. We call for Mother. We're gonna call for Mother. That's the best fucking option. Like, because we still get the +1 to our manipulation. And our eloquence goes up and unity goes up, back up to 10. Fuck yeah. Why would I take the other one? Like, you confront Nathan with a question he was not considered. He has not considered. What would Mother say about this? Nathan stops, stunned, startled. His hand clutching the dagger is unmoving and limp, hanging in midair. Mother. You assure your younger brother that Mother will help him deal with his misfortune. You're going to call her right now. You keep your eyes trained on Nathan as you shout loudly for her. Your cry wakes up everyone in the house when Mother is the first to reach you. He is very worried. Twins Almighty, Nathan, stop, please. Nathan is frozen in place. His fingers grip the dagger's hilt even tighter. Mother, I'm so sorry. Mother, I have to go there. I have to reach the twins. Just for a little while. I need them to hear me. And call out to them from here. You do not need to be in the hereafter to be heard, my son. Remember, they are always watching. They see every moment of your life. All you need to do is pray to them, my son. The twins are always at your side, not only at the moment of death. Your life is their gift, and they watch every single choice you make. Remember how you felt their gaze when you were a little boy? You hear a dull ringing sound as steel clatters against the floor. Nathan has dropped the dagger. Yes, but why won't they tell me anything? Why is dying the only way I can be close to them? My dear son, you must not dare to demand anything from the twins themselves. All you can do is ask. All you're doing right now is demanding. Listen to me. Give me the answer. You cannot do this. You must address them in prayer, an honest, humble prayer born from the truth in your heart. It is hard work, but if such is their will, one day they will respond, and then you will find peace. Mother opens her arms for Nathan. He sobs loudly. His knees buckle as he nearly collapses into Mother's arms. Good thing your brother was at your side in this time of trouble. Twins bless you for this good deed, Ryan. Nathan stops wasting time in taverns with suspicious characters. He spends every day in ardent prayer. Family watches the stark change in their wayward son with great surprise. Then one day, Nathan shares a revelation with you. I spoke to them, brother. I was deep in humble prayer, not even hoping for an answer, but then I felt them listening to me. Felt it with all my being. Like I left the mortal realm and went up into the heavens, and I dared to address them. I begged the twins for forgiveness, and the elder, he reached out to me. He wanted to respond to me. I know he did. But the younger sword stopped us. It would cut the bond between us, and it was like I fell back down from a great height. I saw compassion in the elder's eyes as I fell. He followed me. He shall descend again. He shall witness our suffering and bring his mercy, and then the world will change at last. Okay. Oh shit, I think it's time for the case against Otten. Yep, the unrest thing. Schism is happening. Oh yeah, guys, Tempest. I can't do anything else, huh? Yep, preserve the family is all we can do. Yep. Brante family will live on. Smell of gunpowder. Oh, this is new. All of Anazat has been rocked by a gunpowder explosion. Its victims were Legion officers in charge of a punitive battalion. For some years now, they have been using force to collect the Archduke's tax from villages that refuse to pay. Common folk remember their cruelty well. Now, the tables have turned. A tavern called the Three Falere, the favorite drinking hole of the Legion officers, was blown up by a huge charge of gunpowder. Everyone in the tavern was killed. A number of people living in nearby homes were also injured. Reborn officers reported that they were blown up by an ordinary low-born girl. Before lowering her torch to the fuse, the girl cried out that how the nobles will pay for their crimes with their lives. Powder will make us all equals. Those were her last words. The Legion has been brought to combat readiness. Commander Otten plans to punish the criminal's entire home district. The nobles of Anazat are nervous. No military training, no armor can protect them from a sudden gunpowder explosion. The city remembers that you were the one who made gunpowder available for silver mining. But now barrels of gunpowder are somehow being delivered to rebels rather than the mines. Never before have the Lowborn had such a dangerous weapon at their disposal. Uh-oh. Oh. Well, I guess we're becoming communists now. The commoners are down with the bourgeoisie, rise with the proletariat. Good thing, well, more like it's a good thing we are, or is it a protector of the people? You walk down the cold steps to the prefecture dungeon. The damp air makes it hard to breathe. You were urgently summoned here after the explosion at the Three Faleras. The gendarmes have captured the perpetrator, a low-born girl. Soon people from the secret chancellery will be here. Their institution handles riots and crimes against imperial authority. The worst of it is that gunpowder is involved, and you were the one who succumbed to Mayor Egmont's entreaties and authorized the use of gunpowder in the silver mines. You need to get to the bottom of this before the secret chancellery comes after you. Behind the bars of the cell, you see Alida Siren, an unremarkable girl just like any other from the Brass District. She glances up at you suspiciously from under her long bangs and chuckles. Yeah, I blew him up. I'm not gonna deny it, let alone beg for mercy. I know nobles haven't got any anyway. My sister taught me that when she was hanged for making a peaceful speech in the capital. You send the gendarmes away. You need to interrogate the culprit one-on-one. Having made sure you were alone, you ask Alida where she got the gunpowder. Merc's looking at you defiantly. This is just the beginning. We're the last straw. We're gonna destroy the old order, reduce it to nothing. We've got weapons, we've got gunpowder, we aren't helpless anymore. You are interrupted by loud footsteps down the hall, accompanied by angry shouts. You have to hold your tongue. The gendarmes push another prisoner into the adjacent cell. Your heart skips a beat when you recognize him. Do you know who I am? I own half the mines in Magra. Judge Brante, your gendarmes dragged me here by force. Why didn't you just summon me? I'd have come of my own free will. The gendarmes unceremoniously lock the industrialist in the cell and report to you. This commoner is suspected of transferring gunpowder to the rebels. You once again command the gendarmes to leave you alone with the conspirators. They lock the cell securely before leaving. You, Egmont, and the rebel elite are alone in the cold semi-darkness. Egmont clutches the bars anxiously. Now I see, I'm accused of orchestrating the explosion of the three pillar path. Come closer, Brante. Your life is in as much peril as mine. You take a step forward, approaching the bars. You feel the imprisoned industrialist's heavy breath on your face. I'll cut right to the chase, Brante. Yes, with your help, we put the gunpowder to good use. We used it for a great cause, fighting for the rights of the lowborn. I armed the soldiers of the last straw, and I'm forming my own militia. Gunpowder finally forced the nobles to take us seriously. But I'm not a madman, and I'm not a butcher. The explosion in the tavern was just a way to demonstrate what we are capable of in case the Empire doesn't make any concessions. We are no longer just rabble that can be ordered about, and we achieved that in no small part thanks to your help, Judge Brante. Now the nobles will see that if they don't give us rights, we will have to take them by force. You look at the wealthy commoner in consternation. You have unwittingly become part of his conspiracy. Yes, I concealed some parts of my plan from you, but it was even safer for you this way. You continue to work as a judge in your fight for justice while we did our part. I just wish the last straw had worked a little more cleanly. You demand that Egmont tell you the nature of his connection to the last straw. We made an alliance. The last straw are relentless fighters like this young lady here. And it's wonderful that there are people who are willing to make sacrifices for the greater good. Sadly, sometimes they leave too many clues behind. Our cause is just. Egmont casts a disapproving sidelong glance at the rebel girl. Then he leans in even closer and continues quietly. But explosions and bloodshed aren't my goal. I'm gonna make Anazat the first city in the Empire where all citizens have equal rights no matter what estate they are born to or what lot they have. Isn't that what you've been struggling to achieve all along, Brante? You think this is just some fantasy? We're one step away from taking power in the city and imposing our conditions on the Overseer and the Archduke. Time is running out. Soon the Secret Chancellery will take us, and then our cause is doomed. Unfortunately, you'll go down with us, my friend. We are in this together since you gave us the gunpowder. Let's not let that happen. Not now. Not when we're so close to sparking a genuine uprising. You don't betray your emotions to Egma. Your face is thoroughly concealed by the shadows. Let us both out of the cage, me and the girl from the last straw. Help us escape. I'll make sure you're clear of any suspicion. It'll seem like we broke out on our own. Secret Chancellor will be busy hunting us down, and they'll leave you alone. Meanwhile, we'll finish our preparations and strike first. You've already picked a side, Ryan Brante. Now's not the time to change it. Help me escape and you'll be one of the heroes of the uprising, but if you betray me, you'll be one of its first victims. Alright! Oh, fuck. And then if I help them escape, what do I gain? Oh, I gain money! I die! Hold on now. Why do I die? Why is this a thing? Mayor Eggman, I don't like this. But shit, we lose justice, and we can't lose justice, though. Because if we lose justice, we can't convict Otten. I have to help them escape. I have to accept a third death. It just means we can't die for a... I'm gonna lose another fucking playthrough of this, aren't I? I'm gonna lose another one. Because there's no way we're gonna get a fourth death. I swear to fuck, dude. Help them escape. After a slight pause, you agree with Eggman's plan. You will help them escape. No one can know that you are involved, or you will end up swinging from the same gallows as the fugitives. Eggman's face brightens. I knew you wouldn't abandon the cause, Brante. You've just made history. Now hurry! There's no time to spare. You walk up the stairs nonchalantly. You command the gendarmes to bring the prisoners Mayor Eggman and Alita Sear into the backyard of the prefecture. You will hand the insurgents over to the Secret Chancellor personally. The gendarmes shrug and go down to their dungeon. You put the key to their shackles in your pocket. The prisoners are led out to the backyard. As you accompany them, you discreetly slip the key into Alita Searin's hand. You find yourselves in the empty yard behind the prefecture, but the gendarmes continue to stand guard. They are in no hurry to leave the prisoners alone. Before you can say anything, Alita Searin suddenly waves her arms, now free of the shackles. The gendarmes rush toward the criminal, but she leaps behind you and wraps the chain with which she had been shackled around your neck. The rebels' thin arms are shockingly strong. The chain digs into your neck. You open your mouth helplessly, gasping for air. The gendarmes, stupefied, do not risk coming near. Meanwhile, Mayor Eggman shakes off his shackles as well. Don't move or the judge gets it! The gendarmes freeze in hesitation. Alita drags you along with her, retreating toward the street. The world is going dark before your eyes. You cannot breathe. Eggman moves after you and quickly whispers in your ear. As promised, you're free of suspicion. In the new world, Citizen Brante. Chain tightens around your neck. Convulsion overtakes you. You double over, trying to grab your neck, but to no avail. Then the light in your eyes abruptly winks out. I'm gonna murder him. I'm gonna murder him. You find yourself in the darkness and cold of the family crypt. Shaking, you run your hands over your new body. You touch your neck involuntarily. There is no sign of strangulation. You are renewed. It is time to return to the world. It happened while you were beyond this realm. The prisoners managed to escape. Mayor Eggman is lying low, preparing to put his plan into action. They are searching for him all over the city, but in vain. You expect to share his fate, but no one is inclined to blame you for the rebels' escape. After all, you were killed at their hands right in front of the gendarmes. But the Secret Chancellor issued an order to suspend you from judicial service for a month. Felipe Alfaro deems it necessary to inquire into your possible connection to the insurgents. But no direct evidence can be found. Not even by the Secret Chancellor's best sleuths. Eggman was not lying. He has done his best to keep you out of the line of fire. You regain your position, but your reputation is tarnished. After a long while, you return to your office. Through the windows of your carriage, you see the streets you have known since you were a child. You cannot recognize your own city. Commoners no longer cower by the walls, but stroll right in the middle of the streets. Many of them carry axes or clubs on their belts. Noble conveyances try to get behind the tall fences of the mansion as soon as they can. There are gathering sermons and furious cries on every street corner. Mayor Eggman was right. The city is one step away from an uprising. Or perhaps that step was taken the day you freed the conspirators. I'm gonna kill Mayor Eggman if I get a chance. With great unease, you peer out the window of your office at the street below. Otton's case has been put aside, unfinished. You spent several years of your life preparing for that trial. But it's too late to decide the fate of a single Arcanian now. Through your advocacy and protection, the common people have grown bold and are ready to take justice into their own hands. The age of nobles governing commoners is no more. A large mob is gathered in the square in front of the prefecture, and many of the lowborn are waving clubs and hatchets. They have piled boxes and crates in the middle of the square. Their leader, Mayor Eggman, now rises to this impromptu podium. He has abandoned his typically luxurious attire for a plain shirt and pants. People of Anazot, the time has come. They humiliate us. They squeeze us dry. They obey no laws. We're not going to take it anymore. We are not just some lowborn rabble. The Empire stands on the shoulders of the common estate. We are in charge. The excited mob echoes his call with passion. We're in charge. Egmont raises a hand and points at the windows of the prefecture behind him. The judges and the law are on our side. We will have the same rights as the noble estate. We will make the new faith legal. We will return the city and the province to the people who live in this land, who feed it, who toil for it. We are in charge. The crowd's cries shake the windows of your office. Their excitement has reached a fevered pitch. More and more people keep flocking to the square from every street. Hellborn appears behind you. He is visibly pale. Without a word, he watches it all unfold. Follow me, people. We're going to occupy the city hall. We are going to take over the city and demand the overseer recognize our rights. Onward to the city hall. But then on the very edge of the square, cavalry troops bearing the Archduke's banners come into view. They form a line, their swords at the ready. The noble militia of Anazot, the city's prized warriors, are prepared to attack. Elborn cannot suppress a loud, terrified gasp. Egmont, that lunatic, he's gonna get these people killed. We should have left him behind the bars. Do not be afraid, stay where you are. They will never dare to attack us. Come on, Sophia, where are your fighters? The cavalry moves, the riders crash into the mob. People flee in terror, pushing, shoving, screaming, trying to outrun the hooves and the neighing horses. The noble militia hacks at the rioters without mercy. Soon, several riders reach Mayor Eggman. They drag him from the podium and ride away with the quarry. The poor man, he's finished. What was he thinking? The other riders remain in the square, corralling the mob, cutting down anyone in their way. But then from the crowd, a loud salvo, gunfire, thick black smoke wafts over the square, and then another. Cavalrymen fall, their gilded armor pierced by bullets. The horses buck, startled by the loud noise, throwing their noble riders in terror and trampling those who fall beneath their hooves. You spot people with long muskets and rifles dotting the square. There is smoke everywhere. Thunderous gunshots and mayhem rule. The riders who survive run for their lives. What remains of the mob flees the square as well. A woman in a plain gray dress climbs to the top of the abandoned podium. Something about her limping gait seems vaguely familiar to you. All of you, listen to me. The nobles will never trample the common folk ever again. We have the weapons, we have the numbers, we are the last straw. The days of the old regime are numbered. They stood in our way today, but we will not be stopped. Get your weapons, people. Get ready to fight. We are coming back here tomorrow. Elborn watches it all unfold, terrified. What have we done, Ryan? This is how the common people use the freedom we have given them? All our plans and good intentions, they're going to drown it all in blood. Oh, no, I'm not letting those lunatics ruin my life's work. We must act, Brante, you and I. We started all this, now we must end this calamity and save the city, even if it means violating our oaths and sacrificing our honor. Prepare yourself, Judge Brante. Storm is coming. Oh boy. Oh boy. Things are getting crazy. Oh! God damn it. I tried so hard to get him accused, but then I ended up taking an event that made the justice go too high. Fuck!
At last, the day has come which would decide my fate, as well as that of my family and perhaps
We
the
finished chapter
entire
4.
empire. The day of the revolt.
Yee. The revolt begins. Ba-ba-bum. You leave the prefecture feeling uneasy. Your determined struggle for justice and equality before the law has led the people of Magra to feel empowered for the first time. Sensing their strength, they have taken up arms. Is this really what you were striving for? After the last confrontation between the rebels and the noble militia in front of the prefecture, the city has fallen silent. A traveler passing by would think that life in Anazon is carrying on as usual. But rumors about the massacre in which the last straw slaughtered the noble cavalry have reached every house in the city. For the first time in memory, commoners have dared to take up arms against their masters. Mayor Egmont tried to demand rights for the lowly estate, but he was quickly defeated. Now his place has been taken by the last straw. The former underground movement led by the merciless Sophia will stop at nothing in their struggle for a new order, and their numbers are growing. Time for peaceful appeals has passed. The wrath of the people is gaining momentum by the hour. Their rulers can no longer appease them by throwing them a bone and slightly loosening their grip. Commoners of Anazar are ready to fight to the true death for their rights. Remiel Vermin is already dead, his life taken by the verdict of the People's Court. He was strangled by the mob that broke into the city hall. The magistrate's lifeless body now hangs just outside the windows of his office for all to see. Whether you want it or not, the revolt cannot be stopped now. Here we go. For years now, Anazon has been simmering like a cookpot over a slow flame. The powerlessness of the simple folk, unable to change the old order, has gradually given way to rage. Finally, this anger became stronger than their age-old submission to the higher estate and their fear of divine retribution. This rage was the spark that lit the fire of the revolt. All of Anazot's commoners have risen up in rebellion, workers, artisans, merchants, beggars. They all long to break free of noble tyranny and the perpetual suffering that is their lot. The most daring among them have joined the last straw. The secret society has sent entire squads of trained soldiers out into the streets. They hand out guns and bombs to the people, weapons that give them a chance to wage war on equal footing against noblemen descended from generations of warriors. But the most dangerous weapon the rebels possess is the People's Court. Commoners have claimed the right to sentence their enemies to true death. The first nobles executed by the last straw this very night served as proof that these sentences are real. For the first time in the history of the Empire, the divine force of the law is in possession not only of the noblemen, but also of the common estate. Among the rebels are many new believers. They are ready to take up arms to defend their faith and freedom from the lots. They are led by Leonard, the abbot of the temple by the Silver Tree. Prefect Elborn's allegiance remains unknown. The Supreme Judge has taken such pains to give the lowly estate more rights. Will he support a revolt that strives to do the same? Anazot has recently been rocked by a series of spontaneous assemblies and protests. The mob demands equal rights for all estates and freedom from the tyranny of the nobles. The authorities must recognize the new faith and grant the commoners the right to choose their own lot. By nightfall, the rebels had disposed of the guards and taken over the city gate. In a matter of minutes, Anazot was under their control. It is the duty of Overseer Gaius Tempest to crush the revolt. The Arcanian nobleman feared for his own position and power, so he was reluctant to punish the rebellious city as discontent slowly grew year by year. The ensuing uprising has left him no choice. The Overseer has announced a full-scale mobilization. In the morning, the Legion will march toward Anazot under his command and attempt to return the city to Imperial authority with fire and sword. The expeditious arrival of the Legion is the only hope the nobles have left now that they are locked inside the city. Members of the higher estate, especially the old aristocratic families, fear the coming rampage and strive to keep order on the streets. Meanwhile, the Inquisition led by Sister Jean is trying to stop the new believers and urging the people to reject the revolt. Both groups are aware that if the rest of the province follows Anazot into rebellion and chaos, the Empire itself and the Divine Order will begin to crumble. After nightfall, the city grows quiet. Its courtyards and squares are empty. In mansions and palaces, hasty negotiations are held and schemes are concocted. In dark cellars, the revolt is being prepared and armed units are gathering. Parishes are getting ready to defend the temple temples of the new faith against the Inquisition. All citizens, rich and poor, common and noble, are arming themselves, some with ancestral swords, others with cleavers. Anazad is preparing, waiting for the dawn. As the Legion arrives for the assault, the rebels assemble into a militia and get ready to fend off the Imperial army. There is little unity in their camp. Their leaders are already mired in a power struggle. There are also defenders of the Imperial Order within the city walls, members of the old aristocracy, soldiers of the Inquisition, priests of the old faith, commoners unwilling to defy the law and the twins' design. These people, too, refuse to lay down their arms. The first rays of the rising sun light up the horizon. This day will go down in history. Your entire life has led you to this moment. Step by step, you have made yourself the man you are now. Your actions today could alter the course of history. Are you ready to go the distance? What will have become of you by the time the sun sets? Oh boy. A revolt. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Oh shit. Chapter 5 is just one day. Oh boy. Oh boy, this is lots of shit's gonna happen real fucking fast. Wait. Does that mean we're gonna die? We're gonna die. We're fucking dead. We're dying. We're dying. We're only 27 years old and we're dying. The first rays of the morning sun reach the windows of your family home. It would be so easy to forget about the impending revolt here within these old familiar walls. But the calm before the storm will soon be over, and yesterday's turmoil returned. There are only a handful of hours left. The Brantes have to decide what to do. The family stay in the city and prepare to weather the storm. Should they join the struggle, or should they simply avoid it? After a sleepless night, you gather in the sitting room as a family once again. Father is the first to speak. His determined yet surprisingly calm voice fills the room. This is what I was afraid would happen. The nobles' estate has turned a blind eye to the common people's misery. Now we have a revolt on our hands. It is my fault as well. I did all I could to serve the cause of justice, but it just wasn't enough, and now blood will be shed. Family patriarch casts a somber gaze over his children. I want to make one thing very clear. Today, our family cannot get involved in the unrest. We will not take sides. I feel for the common estate, but we are not getting dragged into a hopeless bath. As for preserving the Overseer's rule in Anazal, we will not sacrifice ourselves for that either. He has led Magra to this rebellion. Now it's up to him and his legion to deal with the rebels. And we mustn't forget Commander Otten and his noble militia. They're all too eager to use this opportunity to slaughter all the nobles they blame for the revolt. Father is silent for a while, then he takes his sword off the wall and places it firmly on the table. His voice rings with the coldness of steel. We will stay in our city and protect our home. Whatever danger we might face today, the Brantes will not surrender their home, their status, or their place in this world. None of you have ever seen Father so filled with resolve, but he still seeks your support. Robert, patriarch of the Brante family, meets your gaze. My son, I know you're going to make your own decision. You're too deeply involved in this conflict to just stand aside. But right now, I'm talking about our family here, Ryan. Our family must remain out of harm's way, no matter what you decide to do. Alright, if we flee the city... Protect the home. Protect the fucking home. You agree with Father. The Brantes need to take shelter at home and stay out of this struggle. It would be unwise for the family to take any side in the coming conflict. They should just focus on keeping each other safe. You, however, will have to act on your own. This is a historic day. You cannot stay out of it. Soon you will join the struggle for the city's future. You have to get ready and muster all of your strength. Father lets out a bitter sigh and puts his hand on your shoulder. Very well, son. I always knew you had your own destiny. I hope you fulfill it today. Determination written in his face, Father stands up and buckles on his sword belt. As for the rest of us, we will stay home and stick together. Check all the locks, board all the windows, and reinforce the doors. You say your hurried farewells to your family and leave them to their preparations for the coming storm. If they should find themselves in danger, you promise to come home and help them at once. But in your heart of hearts, you are still uneasy. Like, what did I need for the family to side with? I didn't check it when we had the screen, and I forgot. You finally walk out the door and head for the gate. This is where you belong now. On the streets where history is about to be written. Ryan, hold on! You turn around and look behind you. The hunched, hapless silhouette of your younger brother appears on the steps. Nathan hurries towards you. Nathan, you're gonna get yourself killed, my guy. You're not built like me. You're not built different. I'm actually... You can take, Nathan, you haven't died yet. So you can take some lesser deaths. I can't take another death or I'm perma-dead. Your younger brother stands before you, clutching an old prayer book. He speaks. He sighs deeply, then begins to speak. I know you're in a hurry, Ryan. Try not to take up too much of your time. As you know, my father has wavered all my life. As you know, my faith has wavered all my life. Twins know how much I've sinned, but even in my darkest hour, I knew they hadn't turned away from our world. I knew they still cared. Nathan is quiet for a moment, watching a tiny ant make its way across the porch. I just can't understand, no matter how hard I try, what's happening to us. This revolt against the Emperor, how did the twins let it happen? Is this even possible? I mean, the twins made the whole world as part of their design, didn't they? Does that mean the entire world is about to fall apart? This revolt, what is it? Please, help me understand. Nathan's sullen gaze rises toward the shining pillar, but thick gray storm clouds are already moving toward the city. The shining strip at the edge of the sky is growing dimmer by the second. You watch the sky too, lost in thought. What will you tell him? Let's see. Right, so I gain some eloquence. We're gonna make our brother the fucking prophet. Let's go. Become the prophet, my guy. Become Jesus or Muhammad, whichever one. I can't think of any other prophet names at the moment. Just one off the top of my head. Your hand comes to rest on Nathan's shoulder. You have always tried to guide your little brother to the truth, but right now only the gods themselves hold the answer he seeks. But you believe that he has the power to ask the twins himself. You spoke to the elder once, surely you can speak to him again. Nathan falls silent, dumbstruck by your words. He unconsciously touches the sacred symbol he wears on his chest. Ryan, you believe me? You really believe the elder spoke to me? Your eyes shift to the silver tree. It has always stood over the city. It brings back so many memories. You recall the way you felt when you first saw it up close. Then you speak. Yes, tell Nathan. You believe him. You believe in him. Your little brother kneels silently. He bows his head and speaks a prayer to the elder. Nathan's body begins to tremble. His eyes roll back in their sockets. The sacred symbol in his hand burns with a silver flame. Try out to call out to him, but your mouth will not open. Your lips are sealed tight. The air is growing heavy. Time and space freeze. A few moments seem to last an eternity, then it passes. Nathan leaps to his feet, his eyes wide. Heard him. Did. He's here, Ryan, the elder. He walks among us. The elder's looking for an answer just like me. He's calling out to us. He wants to know what happened to our world. He wants to hear us. I need to find him. Nathan suddenly stops in mid-thought. Family needs me now too, right? We've got to stick together. Your hand comes to rest on your brother's shoulder once again. What's done is done. He has seen the truth, and it will never let him go. It is time for Nathan to walk his own path. He must find the elder. He must make himself heard. Nathan smiles meekly and embraces you as awkwardly as ever. I'll never forget everything you've done for me, brother. Farewell. Before he leaves, Nathan hesitates for a moment, casts one final glance at the family home, disappears beyond the gate. He walks alone now, combing the streets for a god mere moment before they erupt in madness. This is Nathan's one true path now. The crimson sun slowly rises above the horizon. You make your way through a city in chaos, carefully observing what is happening on the streets. Rebellion is flaring up again after a night of calm. Once again, the commoners are taken to the squares in droves. The grim resolve in the rebels' eyes speaks volumes. They are determined to seize their freedom or die trying. There are others, however, who are huddling inside their homes, locking their doors and praying to survive the revolt unscathed. With every passing minute, you see more and more people carrying banners. They bear a hand clutching a lantern, the mark of the last straw. Conspirators have left the shadows at last. They hand out guns to the common folk, using these last precious minutes to quickly teach them how to fire them. The artisans are out on the streets too, cobbling together makeshift shields out of wood and nails to protect against the nobles and their blades. Fortunately for the rebels, nobles remain divided. The old noble bloodlines have sided with Dorius Auten. The Archnean has sworn to bring down the revolt by any means necessary. His noble militia now stands guard in the Silver District, where the city's most eminent aristocrats have their homes. They represent the greatest threat to the revolt. Many nobles of the mantle, however, are all too eager to violate their oath of fealty and side with the rebels. Though ennobled to serve the Empire, they no longer want to suffer under the boot of the high-born Archneans and human gentry. But there are many more who are still undecided, soldiers and low-ranking officers of the Legion from the city's garrison, officials and functionaries. They have all found themselves caught between the Overseer's orders and the people's revolt. Many of them are biding their time, hoping the Legion or the Prefecture will spring into action and quell the unrest. The Prefecture has yet to react. City Prefect Sir Alborn still has not made it clear which side he is on. Even the clergy has been swept up in the strife. Abbot Leonard is gathering new believers for a procession to the Silver Tree, where the people will elect a new patriarch. Old believer priests and common folk who prefer to cling to the lots and save their souls stand in opposition. Given the Inquisition, whose duty it is to protect the Church of the Twin Gods against heresy, has been tainted by the schism. The true fight for the fate of Anazat will begin in a matter of hours. You have had 8 years to curry influence among the people of the city. It is time to put your connections to the test. Who can you sway to your side? Who will be willing to sacrifice their lives and fight for your cause? Fucking apparently nobody! Bide my time, I gain willpower. This I needed. I needed to be a part of the path of the lotless. I needed to be ennobled. Priest. Lotless. Priest. Set a riot among the Legion troops. You head for the armory. The main forces of the Legion are still several hours' march from the city. Soldiers stationed here must be wavering. They may yet join the revolt. Soon you reach the ancient barracks built of ruddy stone. The Legion soldiers standing guard around it are exhausted and anxious after a sleepless night. They will not trust in an unfamiliar face. However, some of them recognize you. It's Judge Brante, let him in! The air around the barracks is thick with alarm and unease. The officers are forming squads to head out and break up the crowds, but the soldiers are already on the verge of a full-blown mutiny. The only thing keeping them in check is an age-old fear of their betters. You waste no time. In the middle of the square in front of the armory is a platform. You leap onto it and address the soldiers of the Empire. Warriors of the Legion, Ryan Brante, the defender of the common people against the Archnean elite, has something to tell you. Do you know what happened to Thomas Guerrero, the Legion captain who was rescued from Commander Auten's clutches? You have their attention now. Many of them are aware of Thomas and his plight. You continue your impassioned speech, their eyes trained on you. Captain Guerrero was a soldier just like you. Have you all earned a military rank and the right to serve just to grovel in the dirt before the Archneans? You are nobles of the mantle, but the imperial authorities will continue to treat you like dishonorable rabble until you force them to reckon with you. Today is the day when the soldiers must join the people and cast off the chains of Arcanian tyranny. Down with the bourgeoisie! Communism! Yeah. A furious shout cuts your tirade short. The garrison commander has had enough. The enraged old nobleman jabs a gnarled finger at you. Traitor, you dare you call yourself a nobleman? Seize him now! You are servants of the Emperor. The soldiers do not bulge. They watch you intently, waiting for your response. That's an order! Are you deaf or just stupid? You cast an arm forward and bellow. Down with the tyrants! Kill him. A legionnaire's sword pierces the old nobleman's chest. He collapses to the ground with a heavy thud like a sack of old clothes. Slowly, his body dissolves into shimmering ash. The old officer still had lives to spare, but by the time he returns to the living, history will have been written without him. The invisible fetters of terror that once bound the legionnaires have been shattered. They make quick work of the remaining officers. After the mutiny, many soldiers throw away their uniforms and flee, but the rest of them line up in front of you. The legionnaires bang their swords against their shields. You command them now. They have only one goal: put an end to the old regime. Do you have what it takes to realize their hopes and guide them to victory? It is time to find out. The sound of gunfire fills the city streets once again. The lull has passed. Oh boy, here we go. Alright, so I have to end up... Ooh, I gotta get people's fucking trust. I don't think we're gonna get a peaceful victory here. I don't think we're getting a peaceful victory. I don't think that's gonna happen. Unless, of course, all the next events allow us to bump up the points that we need. The sun rises higher and higher. Your carriage is hurtling down the street, making its way through the crowd with great difficulty. Many barricades have appeared overnight, made of old boards and rotten trash. You have to reach the prefecture as soon as you can. The gendarmes and judges' reaction to the revolt could be decided at any moment. Any word from Sir Alborn? No, even the slightest sign from him could determine their allegiance. The Silver District is empty now, populated only by a searing wind sweeping light debris across the cobblestones. You smell smoke. The noble house must have been set on fire nearby. You hear hooves clattering in the distance. There is not a soul around. All you can hear is a fountain burbling in a small square mixed with gentle melodic laughter. You yell for the carriage to stop. Those graceful movements, that clothing so light and airy, that thin, slender figure playing and splashing in the water. The rays of the sun dance and glitter on its golden skin. That hot, carefree day flashes before your eyes. The sound of the carriage on the cobblestones, the handkerchief dropped on the ground. Does Octavia still remember how you first met? This creature, does it still have anything in common with the prideful Arcanian lady you met here all those years ago? Creature that was once Octavia's laughing, as though she cannot see the ruined streets around her. You come closer. You feel a strange, involuntary sense of calm next to this bizarre creature. There can be no hatred in her presence, no pain, no suffering. Peace was never an option. You're right, Dorada. She raises her large, pitch-black eyes to you. Her voice rings with genuine elation. See it all crumbling now. It's the old world dying, collapsing under its own weight. Not fear it. Not a bad thing. This is how it has to be. You live in the dream of the one called Octavia Milanitis, human who bears the name of Brante. This dream will end soon. Then it will all be gone. Your empire, your estates, your lots, your shining pillar. And you, human named Brante, will be gone too. And the great mind of the Latari will leave this dream and move on. Beyond all borders, beyond all limits. Great joy that moment will bring us. The creature that was once Octavia stretches her thin arms toward the horizon. Her smoke already wafts against the backdrop of the sky. Screams of the riding crowd are drawing close. This being is not of this world, and it is utterly helpless. Especially here in Anazad, in the middle of a rebellion. The fate of the woman you knew as Octavia Milanitis is in your hands now. Alright, so... Oh, so if I hadn't been a rebel... Why could Archdorius on? It's weird. Ooh, my God. We got lucky that our fucking theology is just high enough. All right, share a moment with her before she leaves. You reach out to the creature that was once your lover. The thought that Octavia will never return makes your heart ache, but you accept her choice to leave. You take the being before you by a slender hand. Under your breath, you whisper a final farewell. The world created by the twins is a cruel one indeed. You understand why the Latari would wish to leave it. Thanks to the ritual, you have sojourned beyond it yourself. But there are still so many humans and Arcanians desperately locked in the chains of this existence, just as Octavia Milonitis once was. Latari must not depart from this world without leaving something behind, some shred of the truth she has worked so hard to unveil. The creature's large, pitch black eyes close for a moment. When they open again, you see tears in them. What a terrible world the twins have created. Latari know how much they suffer from the flaws in their own creation. Those who live in this world must still have hope, even as their world burns around them. Their minuscule spark of life is not the only one in the universe. The Atarian Ritual, you recall how it felt, and for a moment, streets scarred by the uprising seem unreal to you. An unnatural composition made by chance out of hundreds of tiny particles like an image in a kaleidoscope. It is quiet. Water splashes in the fountain. You gingerly put your hand on the strange being's golden shoulder. It is so warm. She strokes your head. You can barely feel her slim fingers. Octavia cared for you. You helped her break free from her cage. You mustn't leave without a trace. The end of this world is approaching. This we cannot change. However, we will leave a hidden path behind. Path to the Latari. But it is not your path, human named Brante. You are too tightly bound to your city, your goals, and your gods. You'll never see us again, but we will remember you always, I and Brante. The creature floats away, turns a corner, is gone. Some tiny part of the woman you loved will remain in this world. You linger there for a time, staring at the empty street. You shake your head and return to reality. Alborn, Prefecture. You need to hurry. It is noon. A large crowd is gathered in the prefecture square. The gendarmes form a line in front of the stairs, clutching their cudgels nervously. The commoners keep coming. The mob keeps growing. They call out to the windows of the prefecture. Their screams are deafening. Alborn, silence with the people! Gendarmes, judges, join us! The people need you. It's now or never! The rebelling citizens demand that the prefect take a side. This decision must not be made without you. You have to get inside. You push your way through the dense crowd until you reach the gendarmes. Oh, Sir Brante, I thought you'd been captured. Men, let the judge through. Tell the judges to make up their minds. The people haven't attacked us yet, but you never know. The main hall... There's chatting. The main hall of the prefecture is stuffy and crowded. The din of the voices is as loud here as outside. Almost every judge of the province is here now, save for those who stayed home or fled the city in advance. Most of them demand that the prefect disperse the crowd. Augustine Alborn is on the podium in the courtroom, looming above the indignant judges. No, I will not sic the gendarmes on the people. It is the prefecture's duty to listen to the emperor's subjects, not force them to be silent. If we disperse this crowd, it will only fan the flames. And what of the overseer's orders, sub-prefect? We have to quash the revolt while we still can. Tell the gendarmes to do their duty and protect the city from these riots. Or do you want the so-called people's court to hang us all? Have you forgotten about the last straw and that freak Sophia? They are executing people left and right as though they're wielding the divine law. Do you really think you will be spared? The judges applaud Fakirabin, even those you believe to be the prefect's most ardent supporters. This unrest needs to be quelled with words, not clubs. If we turn this demonstration into a bloodbath, there will be no stopping the carnage. Alborn tries to respond, but cries of outrage drown out his words. The prefect frowns in consternation. The wrinkles on his forehead grow deeper. He casts another glance around the courtroom and notices you standing in the doorway. Right, so why can't? Because I'm a rebel. Nobles don't like me. My valor is just one fucking short. Damn it. Await Alborn's decision. You look away from Elborn. This decision falls on the prefect and the rest of the judges. You are staying out of this. The judges and the prefect are just going around in circles. They make the same arguments over and over again. Even the stateliest judges are shouting now. Finally, Elborn loses his patience and pounds the top of the podium with his fist. I am still the prefect of Magra. The gendarmes will not attack the people. This is my final decision. Now please, good judges, quit your bickering and do your jobs. The courtroom falls silent. Elborn, you have the power to uphold law and order in Anazat. But you are afraid of your own power, afraid to give a single simple order. You're a coward. Elborn's face grows red. He leaps from behind the podium. Captain Linnet suddenly barges in the courtroom. The sounds of screams and clattering hooves fill the room. The riders are coming. It's Otton and his noble militia. Done. 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 The searing sun looms high in the sky above the rebellious city. The square in front of the prefecture is packed with commoners. Just a moment ago, they boldly demanded that the judges and gendarmes side with the rebellion. Now they are terrified. They fear the noble army that is coming for them. Their calls for rebellion are gone, replaced by frightened screams. Hooves thunder against the cobblestone. The earth quakes beneath their feet. The noble militia, led by Dorius Otton, carves a path through the human sea. Terrified rebels scatter as the riders approach. The gendarmes remain where they are, forming a tight circle around the prefecture and Elborn. The prefect calls out to the crowd, his voice hoarse. Everyone stay calm, let them through. Do not draw your weapons. Otton's riders push the mob aside and eventually reach the tall building. The Octanian commander draws in his reins only when the gendarmes all that separate. What? Alright, that paragraph didn't make any grammatical sense. Prefect Elborn, how dare you disobey the orders of the province's rightful rulers? You have abused your position to appease the rebels and defy imperial rule. This inconceivable rebellion is your fault. It is time for you to accept your well-earned punishment. In the name of Archduke Milonidas, I hereby order you and your gendarmes to surrender your weapons. The Supreme Judge of the Prefecture maintains his composure in the face of this recrimination. I only obey the laws of the Empire, Sir Otton, not you or your runaway Archduke. Otton's face contorts in a predatory grin. Excellent. You have had your chance to save face, old man. Instead of a dignified execution, you and your cronies will hang like the foul rebel you've betrayed us for. Otton lifts his sword skyward, prepared to order an assault. The riders behind him are about to attack. The gendarmes are ready their clubs. Their hands are trembling. They will not stand a chance against the noble cavalry. The mob begins to shift, about to flee the square. The fate of this moment hangs by a thread. So why can't I pick this? Because I'm a rebel. Okay. Again, I'm a rebel. Because I'm a rebel. Why can't... Oh, it's because Otton is sent. Oh, damn, that would have been cool. Because we never got him to get sentenced. Fuck, that sucks. Go! Rouse the mob and encourage them to defend the prefect. Otton's riders advance on the gendarmes. If you do nothing, the prefecture will fall. You need to act now. You leap into the mob, scramble up onto an overturned carriage, and call out to the throng. You hear voices throughout the crowd. It's Brante! Brante wants to say something. You shout as loudly as you can. People of Anazat! Do not fear the wrath of the nobles. Your lives are finally yours for the first time since the Empire was founded. Cast off the lot of humility. You are many and they are few. It is time to fight. For years and years, the prefecture has always been there to protect the rights and freedoms of the common man. We cannot let it fall into enemy hands. Stop them! Protect the prefect. Elborn hears you over the din of the struggle on the prefecture stairs. His voice joins yours. Show them you have no fear. Take your rights by force. I, Prefect Elborn, I am on your side. Your words inspire the people with a sense of solidarity. They have much to lose now, and they will not surrender their freedom without a fight. In the blink of an eye, the unwieldy throng bristles with heavy sticks, wooden clubs, and makeshift spears. You start giving orders from your impromptu podium, commanding this newfound army to assault the rear of Otton's cavalry. Cut the rabble down, no mercy! The cavalry turns to face them with an onslaught of sharp steel. Bones crack beneath hooves, swords slice through defenseless flesh. The stench of blood fills the square as fallen bodies dissipate into glimmering dust. You keep doling out furious commands, trying to ensure that the common folk are not routed. Hold the line, stand your ground, better a lesser death than eternal slavery. The riders smash into them again, but the line holds. The people have numerical superiority, and their spears and clubs strike back. The cavalry begins to drown in the sea of humanity. The gendarmes hit Otton's warriors from the rear. One by one, the riders are dragged from their horses. The noble militia falters. Traitors, filth, retreat! Otton and his surviving horsemen turn tail and flee, furiously carving a path with their swords. At least half of Otton's men have fallen in this battle. Cries of victory fill the square. The commoners shake their weapons, eager to follow your orders. But it is far too early to celebrate. You have only fought off one assault. Prefect Alborn finds you in the boisterous crowd. And your courage has saved the prefecture. I'm with you until the end. Whatever you need from me, you will have it. We need to hurry now. The noble militia we've seen in the city pales in comparison to the forces of the Legion. I'll gather our forces at the prefecture and establish a unified command structure. You should find Abbot Leonard and aid him in any way you can. This procession must be en route to the Silver Tree by now. The enemies of the new faith are waiting, their weapons in hand. Massacre each other if we don't stop them, Brante. The city is a powder keg with a short fuse. Fire and blood is the last thing we need. What we need now is more allies, and having Leonard on our side is crucial. We need a spiritual leader who can unite the city against the Legion. You nod to Alborn. The fate of the feud between the two faiths will be decided in the clash at the Silver Tree. You'll have to be there. You wish the prefect luck, then muster your loyal forces and head for the tree. Oh boy, it's a blood. Oh shit, I have an army under my command. That's pretty badass. I'm pretty badass. Yeah. An enormous sea of humanity flows through Anazont, filling the streets of the Temple District. They are led by Abbot Leonard. The new believers walk peacefully behind him. Many of them women and the elderly. They are unarmed. Their faces show neither fear nor anger. They are so drastically unlike the throngs of rebels who are currently ransacking streets and looting noble houses. The procession slowly makes its way toward the temple at the Silver Tree. The temple has always been where patriarchs of the church accept their sacred duty, along with a heavy burden of responsibility for their flock before the twin gods. When a patriarch speaks, the twins pay heed. And every 8 years, it falls upon the patriarch to proclaim in their sight how their world is humbly following the lot it has been given. Long after the twins descended to our world, the patriarchs came to be elected at the conclave by the clergy. This tradition has continued for many years. Today, dozens of priests have come to the temple in spite of the unrest to conduct the rite and spare the twins' world from their wrath. But now thousands of commoners are walking to the same temple to elect the new patriarch themselves. You and your followers take a side street to the temple, avoiding the immense procession. Soon the square by the tree is packed, teeming, overwhelmed. But the stairs to the temple doors cannot be reached. Stalwart phalanx of champions of faith blocks the way with Jean in the lead. They are joined by the Inquisitors, those who have decided to walk the path of the old faith until the very end. I will not allow you into the temple, Leonard. These heretics will not make you patriarch. Father Leonard slowly begins to ascend the stairs. He does not argue with Jean. The abbot simply faces her with a humble smile and gestures at the people standing behind him. Doubt clouds the champions' faces. Leonard's procession is truly staggering. Even if they are mere commoners, even if they are unarmed and empty-handed, there are simply too many of them to be stopped by a few dozen old believers. Sister Jean, look at them. Are they truly heretics, all of them? They are just people, our brothers and sisters in faith. Why would the Inquisition treat us like enemies? We do not reject the twin gods. Hey, we seek them with our every thought. You rejected the law of the younger when you chose to seek your own lots. No, Jean. The only thing we reject is Isacius' error. argument has been going on for years, Leonard. I know each and every point you can make. Don't even bother. Do not enter the temple. Huh. And all these people, you're just dragging them down to the foot of the pillar along with you. How can you still not understand this after so many years? What do you think you're doing, Leonard? Don't you fear the wrath of the gods? I do not, Jean. When I become patriarch, I will tell the twins that we still love and revere them just as we always have. Even as we seek a different path to them. Twins will hear us, they will listen, and they will understand. There will be no wrath of the gods. The new believers heed Leonard's words. They begin to firmly ascend the stairs to the door of the temple. Champion swords do not deter them. Jean watches the massive congregation approach her eyes filled with remorse. She raises an arm, about to give her final order. Champions of faith, protect the sacred temple, fight to the bitter end. You reach the foot of the stairs as she speaks these words. This is your last chance to intervene. We order the priests to attack, we fuck everything up. Fend them off. Father Leonard dies. Revolt weakens. The common folk like me less. Ah, damn. If I save the new believers. Save the new believers. There can never be peace between the Inquisition and the new believers. Sister Jean is right. The dispute between them has been going on for years. Neither side will ever yield to the other. Right now, there is only one thing you can do. Rescue as many of them as you can from what is to come. You gesture to your followers hurriedly. Spread out and guide the people away from here, as many as they can. Go! In the name of the younger. The champions of faith obey Jean's order. They get into formation and begin advancing on the new believers, weapons in hand. The unarmed mob recoils in fear, but those in the front row are pushed from behind and driven onto the blades. Blood splatters onto the stairs of the sacred temple. A woman's voice lets out a shrill scream. Panic spreads throughout the mob like wildfire. Chaos fills the mind of women and men. They begin pushing, pulling, dashing, recoiling like frightened animals. And the warriors of the church keep advancing, unrelenting and lethal. Your men have reached the edges of this square. They try to guide the new believers down back alleys, shouting, here, over here. But for many of them, it is already too late. A mighty gust of wind rushes over the square. It roars, howls, almost screams, filled with remorse, agony, and wrath. The earth begins to tremble beneath your feet. Before your very eyes, as though in some terrible nightmare, the roof of the sacred temple begins to shake and the pillars start to sway back and forth. No! The world is turned upside down like a kaleidoscope shaken by a massive hand. For several seconds, everything blends together. You fall flat on your back. Slowly, you come to your senses. You are surrounded by dozens of bodies and chunks of rock. Where the temple of the silver tree once stood, there is now nothing. Grand, majestic structure is no more. It has been leveled to the ground. Remnants of its walls and roof are scattered across the square. The stairs that once led to it have been ground into gravel. A cloud of dust slowly settles upon the square. After the dust come the leaves, thousands and thousands of leaves shed by the silver tree. They cover the corpses of the truly dead like a pale white shroud. The entire square glows as the bodies of those yet to be reborn dissolve into nothingness. There are so many that the light stings your eyes even through the thick dust that still hangs over it all. Just how many people met their deaths today? Sister Jean and her warriors are gone, buried beneath the rocks. The order of the Inquisition in Anazot is finished. You stagger to your feet and go to where you last saw Father Leonard. You soon spot the edge of his once white cassock pinned by a chunk of broken pillar. It takes all your strength to roll the heavy stone away and drag the abbot out from under the rubble. Leonard is wounded but conscious. He looks around, trying to understand what has happened, and slowly falls to his knees. A loud groan escapes his lips. Blood and tears trickle down Leonard's face, mixing together. The abbot chokes on the dust. His eyes are fixed on the ruins of what was once his temple, the bare branches of the tree piercing the sky like swords. Wrong. I was wrong. Gods, they wouldn't listen to us. They rejected our faith. What do I do now, Ryan? What do I do? My temple! How will we live now? No hope left. This is the end. Leonard's words become incoherent, descending into a frantic babble. You speak to the abbot, trying to console him. All is not lost. You managed to save many people. You are not sure he can hear you now. You cannot wait for him to come to his senses. You have to take the lead. So you begin mustering your forces and getting ready to move to Empire Square. Enormous crowds of people are already on their way there and about to choose the leader of the Anazot Rebellion. The sun slowly begins to set. Oh shit, I think it's the ending. We are literally, I think, next to the end. Here we go. The sun is setting. The blood-red sky. The blood-red sky quavers in the hot smoke from the fires raging throughout the city. I cannot help but recall a passage from the lives of the twins. One of the many pages Mother used to quote when you were a child. And the elder said, "Lo, I have cast a flame into the world, and I shall guard it until it begins to blaze." Could this passage be referring to today? You lead your followers to Empire Square. You walk around rubble, past abandoned carriages and unfinished barricades. People love me. Oh, fuck. You walk around rubble, and there have clearly been clashes here recently. The dust of the departed is still rising into the sky. Thousands fill the square before the Chancellery. Well over half the commoners of Anazot. The Chancellery has been under rebel control since noon. All Imperial officials either fled or were torn apart by the mob. Scraps of rumors and gossip reach your ears as you move closer. You hear what happened to the Great Tree? It's the Inquisitors. They just started slaughtering folks. They grabbed them swords of theirs and start killing unarmed people. When its procession made it into the temple, there was a sign from the twins. All lies. The twins got angry and destroyed them. They destroyed them all under the tree. The temple's gone, I tell you. Gone for good. The crowd is on edge. Any dispute could explode into a brawl. A voice from the Chancellery stairs calls for another people's court. The mob turns as one. Several last-straw rebels drag a handful of well-dressed nobles out onto the steps and force them to their knees. The leader of the executioners is a preacher with a mane of unkempt hair and the wild eyes of a lunatic. The younger, he speaks through us, he does. He gave us the power of his law, the power to punish our enemies, to execute them. Anyone who stands in our way is an enemy of the twins themselves. People, it's time to judge these enemies of the simple folk. What is your sentence? The mob roars so loudly the square shakes. Death! True death. The last straw rebels ready their guns. One of the captive gets to their feet and speaks out defiantly. You dare call this pathetic freak show a people's court? You don't have the power, you never have, and you never will. You think you can wield the law of the twins? We'll come back and we'll make you pay. The aged nobleman's last words are drowned out by a thunderous volley of gunfire. One by one, the nobles collapse, their bodies pierced by bullets. They remain where they fall. Mob gasps in amazement. Fuck. There can be no doubt the People's Court has the power to mete out true death at will. This is what will happen to anyone who dares to oppose us. All hail the revolt. All hail our leader. All hail Sophia. Sophia's gonna lead us. She's gonna fend off the Legion. She's gonna bring justice. First to Anazot, then to the whole Empire. Gonna tear down the old ways and wipe all them tyrants and nobles from the face of the world. The mob explodes into an ecstatic chant. They shout one word over and over again. Sophia. Sophia. The enormous throng bellows wildly, eager to see the face of its leader. Well, shit, why can't I take control? Because she... Okay. I'm gonna try. Why can't I... Because the revolt is too fucking strong. God damn it. Well, fuck it. We'll unite with Sophia. You make your way through the crowd and reach the Chancellery stairs. You belong here by Sophia's side. The door of the Chancellery swings open and Sophia emerges before the thousands of people gathered in the square. Her silhouette seems to blaze in the light of the setting sun. She raises a clenched fist in the air, demanding silence. The enormous crowd ceases its murmuring at once. The voice of the leader of the revolt rings with frigid fury. People of Anazot, today is not only the day we took up arms and cast off our shackles. Today is the first day of a new era. We will begin by taking back our city. We will eliminate anyone who dares to stand in our way. We will declare war against the old regime, against the entire empire. Upon hearing these words, even the most frantic rebels fall silent. A frightened murmur ripples through the crowd. Sophia asking them to take on the entire world. You exchange glances with Sophia and step forward. Surely the people do not think the Empire will simply allow Anazat to remain free after hundreds of years of slavery and tyranny. The people of Anazat have already crossed the line. There is no turning back. Anyone who fights for the revolt today will go down in history as a hero. Today's spark will kindle tomorrow's flame, and that fire will spread until the entire empire burns to the ground. Our fear of the nobles and divine retribution is a thing of the past. Our future lies in struggle and freedom. People know you. You are Ryan Brante, and you will fight for Sophia until the very end. The people cheer ecstatically. Sophia steps forward again, her eyes gleaming with yellow light. The crowd falls silent, rapt with attention, the golden light reflected in thousands of eyes. Well said, Brante. No mercy. Nobles, defenders of the old faith, the tyrants of the old regime. They will all be executed by the People's Court. Every single enemy of the Anazat revolt will be eliminated. Arm yourselves. Find and execute our enemies before the Legion reaches the city, and then when the bell tolls, go to the walls. We will unite the entire city and take our freedom by force. The people echo Sophia's cry. Artisans, merchants, peasants from the outskirts of Anazat, they all take up arms and join the ranks of the last straw. The rest form into gangs, ready to unleash their wrath against temples and noble houses alike. Sophia catches her breath after a rousing speech and grips you by the shoulder. And you knew you'd be by my side when the time came, Ryan. We've got all the commoners on our side now, too. But we're short on time. I'll go hunt down our enemies inside the walls. I need to take charge of the People's Court. Go defend the city from the Legion. You eagerly accept this assignment. A report soon arrives from the scouts at the gate. The Legion is only a few hours away. The final battle is drawing near. Will the outcome of the revolt be decided in combat, or is there a peaceful solution? It all depends on the actions you take in the coming hours. While you are busy preparing, night falls over Anazat. The darkness brings disorder, lawlessness, and chaos. In the dark, madmen, robbers, and looters flood the city. These gangs have no interest in the fate of the Empire or the revolt. They see the uprising as a sign that the end of the world is nigh, and if the wrath of the gods is at hand, then everything is permitted. Upon hearing reports of gangs roaming the streets, you sense danger. What is to stop them from attacking your home? Your people may need you, but you will never abandon your family. Taking a squad of loyal men with you, you hurry to your home district. Your instinct proves to be correct. Even before reaching your street, you smell smoke. Sir Tibor's school is ablaze. The old man was hurled out a third-story window and impaled on the sharp spikes of the gate below. Oh, fuck. Ashes from dozens of burning books blanket the ground like black snow. Thomas's old house lies in ruins. Breathless, you run up the street. Your men can barely keep up with you. You hope you are not too late. Dory, there is a rebellion. And, we are the second in command of this rebellion. And people are dying. You round the last turn. There it is. Gate of your ancestral home. See dozens of figures approaching by the light of the burning houses. The thugs are too close. You run through the gate and into the house. Your men stay to guard the outside. You hastily open the door. Your father is on the doorstep, sword in hand. He recognizes you and lets out a sigh of relief. It's you, Ryan. I'm so glad you're here. The bastards have burned down half the district and they're on their way here. Uh-oh. He is cut short. The living room window is shattered. A torch lands on the floor. You quickly stamp out the flames. She ascended into... She became an alien. And she's gone now. Don't know where the fuck she went. Yeah, I think she ascended. I don't know. She might be a god now. Who the fuck knows? The battle is in full swing in the front yard. A massive crowd is fiercely attacking your soldiers without any regard for their own safety. The looters are led by a rugged, half-naked old man clad in rags. Horrible scars on his wrists and ankles reveal his past as a convict. He yells frantically in your direction, his shrieks cutting through the din of the fray. The world is coming to an end. We've disobeyed the twins and they're punishing us. There ain't no punishment worse than this. There ain't nothing to fear. These are our last hours. Do whatever you want. The crowd bellows in support of the old man. Your soldiers fall one after another beneath the onslaught of the rabid gang. The twins have damned us all. We've been damned for your sins, you filthy nobles, you false priests. But before we face our final judgment, we'll dole out a little punishment of our own. We'll take our revenge on you before we die. Our judgment cometh. The horde crushes your squad's resistance and approaches the house. Stomping of their feet shakes the windows. Your father looks at you in despair. Want to execute us? What do we do, son? Let my family fucking die. Fuck that. Die for my home. No. We fight. Stefan comes out behind you in full battle gear. There's not even a hint of fear or hesitation in his face. Carefully approaching the window, he counts the assailants and smirks. Not too many commoners for a decent swordsman. This is no time for arrogance, Stefan. Instead of congratulating yourself on a victory not yet won, think about how we can defeat them. You are first to answer Father's question. Yes, there's an entire crowd attacking you. They are mere commoners who have never even held a sword before. Once they see true swordsmen, they will yield. They have a lone, maniacal, false preacher leading them. Without him, they will flee. Stefan clenches his fists. Wise words, brother. Father and I are skilled at fighting back to back. No low-born scum will ever get close to us. Father pauses for a moment in contemplation. I have made many a mistake in my life, but I have raised brave sons. You fling the door wide open, ready to meet your assailants face to face. Take him alive. That one there is Judge Brante. Let's give him a little of a taste of our judgment right now. The enraged looters attack you. Father takes them down with a few swift lunges, but new thugs immediately take their place. You cannot hold them back for long. Your father and brother are your only hope now. Covering each other's backs, they skillfully fend off the assailants. The enemy outnumbers them, but their training gives them a decisive edge. There are only 3 of them. What are you afraid of, you cowards? Here you go, Dory. The insane preacher elbows his way to the front, a huge torrent of followers in his wake. Spying the leader, you shout, now! This is your chance. Like a deadly hurricane, you tear through the enemies to reach the old madman. He raises his axe aloft, aiming for Father's head. Stefan's sword is quicker. He knocks the weapon from the elderly thug's hand. A split second later, he runs his sword straight through the man's throat with perfect precision. Your elder brother's voice booms above the battle. Run, you bastards! Leave our home and never come back! The mob hesitates. One by one, the looters drop their weapons and flee. You have won. Breathing heavily, you exchange tired glances with your father and brother. You have defended your ancestral home. With a sigh of relief, Father lowers his weapon. Only now do you notice how violently his hands are shaking. Like the twins, I was so afraid I'd lose you both. Me? You die at the hands of those pathetic wretches? Not likely, Father. That's not the way you raised us. Well, Ryan, I suppose it's a good thing I taught you to put upstart rabble in their place back when you were a boy. You cannot stay any longer. The preparations for this decisive battle are not yet finished. I understand, son. Take care. I hope to see you again soon. I hope you know what you're up against, Brian. Regardless. Good luck, brother. You leave a small squad behind in case of another attack. Say your goodbyes and take off to face your fate. It is almost midnight. I think this is the end, maybe? The final hour. It is mere moments from midnight. The glow of the shining pillar is barely visible behind the crimson clouds coming in from the north. But the darkness hanging above the city is dissipated by countless lights. Crowds of people holding torches, stakes burning in the squares, houses in flames. The glow of the fires can also be seen from beyond the city walls. Legion marches down the road, inexorably approaching the gate of a city in the throes of rebellion. The final battle draws near. All the forces that have chosen to defy the Overseer and the Empire flock to the city gate, where you have set up your base. The soldiers of the last straw assemble commoners into squads and hastily arm them. Other rebels are led by nobles of the mantle and former members of the Legion who have joined the revolt. Priests who have sided with you will spread the word of the twins from the city walls. The attempting to convince the Legion soldiers to retreat and allow the people of Anazat to be free of the lots. Preparations are also in full swing at the camp of the defenders of the Old Order, who have established a foothold in the ruins of Char Milonitis' palace. Soon their fate will be decided. Will they crush the revolt with the aid of the Legion? Crush themselves by the new era. There is almost no time left, just enough for one less attempt to tip the scales in your favor. Will you spend this final hour appealing to one of your allies for help? Or would it be wiser to wait and muster your forces for the final battle? Will you attempt to defeat the Legion and the Overseer's army in combat, or persuade them to retreat without engaging in battle? The fate of Anazat is in your hands. We can muster our forces. No. No. We couldn't, since we didn't convince Father to be a rebel, so we can't. Leinert is dead. That kind of sucks. Let's get some nobles on our side, why not? There are many highborn families in Anazat that have not yet responded to Otten's appeal to join the noble militia. They have preferred to lock themselves up in their mansions and avoid waging war against the lowborn. They could still be won over to your side, but you will need help from a high-ranking nobleman. While there is still time, you take a few trusted men and head to the prefecture. Melbourne greets you on the stairs, surrounded by gendarmes. He accepts your request eagerly. You're right, Brante. There are many nobles who are uncertain as to what fate will befall them if the revolt wins. We need to reassure them if we want to gain their support. With the help of the gendarmes, you send out an appeal to all the noble houses you consider dependable. Melbourne signs the letters to each family personally. Noble sirs, you know me as a man of honor. I have been a loyal servant to the Overseer, but my ultimate duty is to uphold the law and ensure justice for all the estates. The high-handedness of the noble elite and their neglect of their lot, which is to rule the lowly estate with care and wisdom, has led the people of Anazat to the brink of despair. This is why I have sided with revolt, and I encourage you to do the same. May it be known that once our victory has been achieved, none of you will face reprisal. I, Prefect Alborn, hereby swear that anyone who supports the revolt in word or deed will obtain a rightful place in the newly transformed city of Anazat. The messengers return one by one, bringing back news that noble families have agreed not to stand in the way of the revolt. Only a few of them leave Alborn's appeal unanswered. The support of the nobles will be of great value in the critical hours of the confrontation. Midnight strikes. You can hear the menacing tread of the Legion outside the city walls. The time has come. You order your troops to assemble and prepare to defend the wall. Here we fucking go. The dark void beyond the walls of Anazat is lit by hundreds of lights. Heavy boots tread the soil, armor clanks, halberds gleam, drums beat a lively march. Lit by the glow of the torches, the Magran Legion approaches the city walls. Gaius Tempest himself leads the Legion. It is the Overseer's duty to crush the revolt this very night and pacify the city before news of the incident spreads throughout the Empire. If the Overseer's hesitation allows the revolt to last even a few days, it jeopardizes not only his position, but even the fate of the entire province that has been entrusted to him. Before ordering an assault, the Overseer sent a message to the city. My subjects! Lay down your arms this instant and open the gate. I know that you have been deceived by the insurgency. You have my word as an Archnean ruler that I will spare anyone who aids the Legion and turns over the leaders of the revolt. Should you disobey this order from your lawful ruler, none of you will escape disgrace, execution, and eternal torment at the foot of the Shining Pillar. But the Overseer's threat only further enrages the rebels. An entire city rebelling against Imperial rule? Nothing like this has happened for generations. But not even experts in ancient history could have imagined what is happening on the streets of Anazat at this moment. The decisions you made today have led the entire city to rise up against Imperial rule. By nightfall, everyone who has ever suffered from noble tyranny has taken to the streets in support of the last straw. Even those who began the day cowering in terror from the Overseer's wrath have now emerged from their homes and joined your cause. The Commoner's fear has been eclipsed by their rage. They march through the city in droves, ready to dispense their own justice. By sunset, even the most loyal defenders of the Empire have come to realize that all hope is lost. The Loyalists have amassed considerable forces at Char Milonitis' palace. They are too late. Hordes of furious commoners storm their camp, crushing any resistance. Exhausted and demoralized by the futile fight, many defenders of the Old Order flee mob justice or surrender and accept their death with dignity. The moans of those trampled by the incensed throng can be heard throughout the camp. Abandoned Imperial banners are hurled onto the fire. Make way! The crowd grows silent and parts before Sophia. The leader of the revolt is disheveled, her clothes stained with blood, but a predatory smile lingers on her face. Here, amidst fire and madness, she has finally found her place in the world. Look at your former masters now. Pathetic, ain't they? They thought they could put us in chains again, but they dropped their swords at the first sight of us. They lied to you for centuries, telling you it was your lot to suffer and break your back for them, but look who is suffering now. I give you my word. Tonight we are going to execute anyone who isn't on our side. Every single one of them. And then we will feast among the ruins of the old world. Shit. I guess we're in the French Rebellion now. Ew. Fuck, what's the name of the dude? Robespierre. There it is. She's fucking Sophia Robespierre. The crowd roars, shaking their weapons in the air. Now, the only thing standing between us and freedom is the Legion. But we'll take down the Overseer's troops just like we took down the Emperor's lackeys here in Anazot. But first, we need to get rid of the rest of the enemies and traitors in this camp. No. Sophia takes a glance around the site of the recent massacre. Her merciless gaze stops at you. Brante! Excuse me? The time has come. This moment will determine your place in history. Huh? I die. I die again. Our family is still in the city. Gonna kill our family too? Fuck it! I'm Brante, Ryan Robespierre Brante now. Take charge of the bloodbath. Oh boy. You meet Sophia's gaze. You share her ruthless determination. Together, you will dispose of anyone who dares to stand in your way. The path you have chosen will lead to plenty of blood and suffering, but you are both ready. Your cause leaves no room for hesitation. You handle the executions, Ryan, but hurry. The Legion is about to attack. At least we don't have to worry about getting attacked from the rear. Go on, get your verdicts. I'll be waiting for you up on the walls. Leaving a small squad with you, Sophia rushes off to defend the gate. You eagerly get to work. Your soldiers dash around the wrecked camp and drag all the survivors to one spot. High-ranking nobles, inquisitors, commoners from the enemy militia. They are all thrown to the ground at your feet. You are surrounded by a horde of enraged commoners, desperate to strangle their enemies with their bare hands. You order them to restrain themselves. This is not how it is done. Do they want their enemies to come back from the hereafter and take revenge? You need the verdict of the people's court. At your order, the captives are lined up and forced to their knees. The crowd cheers in bloodthirsty anticipation, eager for the next execution. The gunmen raise their muskets. You address the people of Anazot, loudly announcing that these are enemies of their freedom who have dared to take up arms against the great cause of their revolt. What is their verdict? True death. The gunmen take aim and fire again and again until the last of the captives fall, their bodies pierced by bullets. They twitch helplessly, then lie still. Meanwhile, you can hear the din of battle from the walls. Siege ladders fly up against the ramparts. The ground shakes with the heavy tread of the Legion's iron boots. You must hurry. You assemble a squad and head toward the gate. It is slow going. Fires have blanketed Anazot in acrid smoke. The noble districts are in flames, as is the chancellery. The temples of the old faith are ablaze, and priests who refuse to join the rebels are burned alive within. Bodies dressed in luxurious clothing float face down the fountains. The bodies of those executed by firing squad lay in heaps by the walls. Cobblestones are littered with the corpses of those hurled from the windows of their own homes. Robbers loot the crypts of the noble families, tossing ancient bones into the dirt. But right now, the streets are empty. Everyone capable of holding a weapon is rushing to defend the gate. By the time you arrive, the battle has already reached its peak. Deafening gunshots ring out from above. Brante, come here. We fought off the first attack. You clamber up onto the wall, giving orders as you go, as if placing toy soldiers. You almost bump into Sophia. She is excited. Her face black from gunpowder smoke, I'm guessing is what they meant. He squeezes your shoulder. We repelled the first attack, Ryan. That blue-faced bastard sent us a herald. Said we should lay down our arms and surrender. I shot him right in his head. Meanwhile, the Overseer orders another assault. Take the wall! Come on, men! They're just commoners. They don't stand a chance against you. This time, Gaius Tempest sends 2 battalions of heavy infantry at the wall to the left of the gate. They are followed by archers. Not even gunshots can stop this attack. The ladders fly up, a hail of arrows pelt your positions. Hold the line. I'll hit the archers, you hold the wall, don't let them through. The defenders on the walls attempt to throw the ladders back, hurtling stones at their assailants and pouring boiling oil on them. But the onslaught is too strong. One by one, the Legion soldiers begin to leap from their ladders and onto the city walls. If you falter now, all is lost. You gather your best men and send them against Legion soldiers. Walls erupt into bloody mayhem. All over the walls, the bodies of the fallen fade into brilliant flashes of light. You and your soldiers desperately hack, shoot, and hurl enemies from the walls. Siege ladders fall to the ground below. The attack has been repelled. Twice more, Gaius Tempest orders his troops to attack the wall. Twice more, the walls are stained with blood. Twice more, your soldiers withstand the onslaught. The dawn is drawing near. Even from your position on the walls, you see the Legion soldiers slowly, hesitantly regrouping for their next attack. Desperate, the Overseer himself steps forward to address his demoralized troops. Are you really afraid of some commoners who can barely hold a weapon? Don't fear them, you fools! Fear the wrath of your emperor, fear the wrath of the Tempests. It is your sacred duty to re-establish imperial rule in Anazot. The city will fall and its pathetic rebellion will be crushed. Go forth, I will lead the charge myself. The Overseer raises his ancient sword high above his head. The Legion soldiers shudder. No member of the royal family has taken up arms in centuries. The first rays of the rising sun appear on the horizon, breaking through the gray storm clouds. Led by its royal commander, the Legion begins its decisive attack. Ragged, covered in blood, barely able to stand, you get the surviving soldiers back on their feet. Order them to defend the city one last time. Not even the twins themselves could get through this gate. But the time for speeches has long passed. Now there is only smoke, blood, clanking of swords. Now you can just fight and win. You see the Imperial banner flutter before you. The Legion soldiers are scaling the wall, the Overseer himself first among them. You and your men rush toward the banner. You will capture Gaius Tempest. Sensing that victory is close at hand, your warriors use their last ounce of strength to break through to the enemy commander. The Legioners try to form a defensive ring around the Overseer, but the enraged rebels dash them aside like toy soldiers. Gaius Tempest is surrounded. Wielding his sword masterfully, he slays one of your soldiers after another. Sophia suddenly emerges from behind him, her furious visage aglow with sorcerer's sparks. Freeze! Against his will, the Archnean nobleman stumbles and halts. It is now or never. You charge at your enemy and knock the blade from his hands. Still bound by Sophia's spell, Gaius Tempest stares at you in astonishment. A dozen soldiers pin him against the wall. Sophia stops beside you, casting a mocking glance at the defeated commander. Who's the master now, huh? The leader of the revolt picks up a fallen Imperial banner and tosses it off the edge of the wall. Down below, the soldiers of the Legion begin to flee. You have won! The surviving defenders on the walls lean against the Merlons, exhausted or simply collapse. Down by the gate, you hear triumphant shouts like a wave. They roll further, over the streets and squares, over the entire city. Victory. Anazot has won its freedom. The Overseer glares at you icily. There is genuine bitterness in his voice. Madmen, you have disowned your city. It will be destroyed. I was not your enemy until you forced me to send my army against you. One step at a time, I would have changed this province. I would have made your lives better. But now the entire force of the Empire is about to come crashing down upon you. The punishment for your insolence will be terrible indeed. What was it all for? What do you hope to achieve? Freedom from butchers like you. Butchers like me? And what exactly do you think you are? You withstood my attack today. Now what? Do you want the entire world at war? What will become of the Empire after all your revolt? You look back at your city, crimson in the glow of the flames and the rays of the rising sun. You turn back to your former ruler. I wanted to burn it all down. I want to burn it all down. Those who used to be in power will burn. The old regime will burn. Endless injustice the Empire is built on, it will all burn. Sophia grabs the captive commander by the neck and forces him to face the city. A massive crowd is gathered by the gate. Everyone is watching, waiting to see what will become of the overseer. See? See how many of us there are? Your day is done. Say bye-bye to your power, Blueface. Sophia raises a fist in the air and proclaims victory before the entire city. People of Anazat, we have won. Nothing in the Empire can stop us now. But remember, this was just the beginning. Next, we are going to put the whole Empire on trial. And the first person we are going to judge is Gaius Tempest, your former overseer and the Emperor's brother. You know all about his crimes against you. What is your verdict, people of Anazat? Oh. 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 The fateful words roll through the square like thunder. True death. This cannot be. The law is divine. Only the twins can grant the right to judge. Sophia hands you a dagger. Ryan Brante will carry out the sentence. Raising the blade aloft, you step toward Gaius Tempest as he kneels before you. The crowd roars. Strength beyond imagining surges through your arm. One swift motion, you slit the former overseer's throat. Royal blood runs down your fingers. The man who just yesterday was one of the most powerful Archanians in the Empire collapses at your feet. You raise the bloody dagger high in the air. The Empire has been sentenced to death. Time stands still. You look back at the years gone by. All the difficult decisions you had to make. All the actions that helped you take your place in history. You have put an end to the old era with your own hand. Your destiny has been fulfilled. He's dead. The Overseer is dead. Go, people. There are plenty of enemies left in this city. It is high time they learn the true meaning of suffering. Find them, capture them, and execute them. Brante will lead you. Bloody procession begins to scour Anazat for enemies of the revolt. Once the city is purged, it will continue its march from province to province. In time, it will reach the capital and then the throne of the Emperor himself. And you are in command of it. Right now, I'm going to take a pee break because I am hydrated, so I need to pee. Be right back. The fan is a supporter of the Empire, Sasha. If you support the fan, you stand with the Empire. And as the leader of the execution, Sasha, that must mean I must sentence you to true death. Down with the Empire. Reign of Terror. We are Robespierre. We are robes p fucking air. Oopsies.
Fire and blood engulfed the streets of Anizote before
Anizote.
spreading to the rest of the empire.
I think the person doing that voiceover, I think that has to be one of the developers. Cause like I think this game is an indie game, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was just one of the devs doing the voiceover himself or something. It's worth it, Sasha. No. A new day dawns. It is morning. You stumble along a now empty back street, utterly exhausted after the most trying night of your life. An elderly stranger in a threadbare cloak shambles down the road in the opposite direction. The old man looks around cautiously at every step, seemingly struggling to remember where he is going. As you approach him, he suddenly stops and speaks to you. Good morning to you. You slow down for the old man and wearily return his greeting. May I ask you for a favor, my friend? You barely have any energy to waste today, but there is something about this old stranger's voice that compels you to listen. A favor? What kind of favor? Well, my brother and I had a disagreement, you see, and I want to know who was right. This is the Elder. My brother says this world is already perfect as it is. Twins made it like this, after all. The old stranger pauses, casting a glance over the street. The charred carcasses of buildings and homes, the overturned carriages, the dried bloodstains on the paving stones. I told my brother that no matter what their initial design may have been, the world as it is now needs to change. Then my brother asked me, what exactly needs changing? I had no answer for him. So here I am, wandering around, tormented by this question. Would you help us settle our dispute, my good man? Who's in the right here? Me or my brother? You're in the twins' place. What would you do? What about this world needs changing? Dude, this game is so good, man. Wow. This is a hard-hitting question. Forgiveness. Leave the world alone. I think one for forgiveness is the best one here out of these options. You rub your temples, thinking and recall the last words you heard from Nathan. Spoke of forgiveness. You have an answer for the old man. Twin gods know no mercy. That is why their world is flawed. Twins granted us their law in order to steer us away from eternal suffering in the afterlife. But this same law also dooms our souls to torment at the foot of the pillar for even the slightest transgression. A man who commits a single error has no hope for redemption. Our existence is nothing more than an agonizing preamble to inevitable retribution. Is this really what the twins wanted for us? They gave mortals free will, and so they are filled with passions, doubts, and desires. You know this as well as anyone. If you were them, you would grant people forgiveness. Or at least grant it to those who truly repent and make an effort to right their own wrongs. The elderly man listens carefully to your every word. His eyes are wide like a child seeing the world around him for the first time. You know, someone else told me something very familiar. A young man who was far too old and wise for his years. I can feel the pain and the truth in your words. Wait a fucking... Is he talking about Nathan? Is he fucking talking about Nathan? I can feel the pain and the truth in your words. Thank you, Ryan, for settling our disagreement. The old man rewards you with a gentle smile and slowly walks away. How did he know your name? You spin around, but the street is empty. That was the elder brother. That was the elder twin. Fuck. It only took a few days for the entire empire to learn of the revolt and the events that had transpired in Enazot. The unthinkable victory of the common folk over the war engine that was the Imperial Legion. The ruthless and fearsome leaders of the rebellion. Terrifying slaughter of the nobles, priests, and anyone else who stood in the insurgents' way. By the end of the second day, the revolt had reduced the city of Anazat to a charred, smoldering ruin. Thick, acrid smoke from burning buildings and gunpowder blanketed the city. Bodies swung from ropes on every street, the results of the justice of the People's Court. Sprawled, abandoned, lead-riddled corpses could be found in every square. The events of those days entered the annals of history as the Great Anazot Massacre. But the rebels were not content. Having purged all their enemies from Anazot, they immediately began to march across the province. Every town and village in their way was freed from the noble rule. As the landowners fled in terror, the commoners abandoned their homes and armed themselves to fight beneath the banner of the last straw. The rebel army grew larger and stronger by the day. So began their bloody campaign of destruction. Wherever the rebels marched, the old ways of the Empire collapsed. They have no mercy, leaving nothing behind but smoldering ruins and the ashes of the dead. Age-old traditions burn as their ravenous flames consume town after town, city after city. The old noble dynasties are amassing their own armies beneath the banner of the Tempest to fight off this chaos. But the rebel hordes are already approaching the capital. There is no stopping them. Sophia's dream of waging war against the old world has begun. Regardless of the outcome, the Empire will never be the same again. The bloodthirsty march of the rebellion obliterated any semblance of the rule of law in Magra. The last straw and its followers massacred all the old rulers, leaving chaos and anarchy in their wake. It was only inevitable that the province would fall into the hands of outlaws and marauders. The old ways are gone, but can the people of Magra build something new in their place? The new faith endured the persecution of the Inquisition and survived Patriarch Cassius to become the dominant church in Magra. Since then, most Magran priests preach that everyone is free to find their own path to the twins. The old faith has lost the influence it once had. It survives only thanks to the most uncompromising priests, the dynasties of old, and fearful commoners in the most remote Magran villages. The cries of the past few years have annihilated the province's former prosperity. Fertile fields have been scorched, the mines have been abandoned, the factories stand idle with no one to work in them. The looming threat of hunger and poverty drives the people to back-breaking labor and the tried-and-true ways of the ancestors. Commoners flee the cities in droves and flock to villages and towns, hoping to squeeze some paltry nourishment from the inhospitable Magran soil. The province is on the verge of starvation and turmoil. Lawless anarchy replaced the old order, plunging Magra into chaos. The people of the province no longer know whose orders and which laws they are to follow, and the authorities that remain have no power to maintain order. The most reckless commoners become outlaws and thieves, the nobles feud amongst themselves. Bloodshed, looting, and wanton cruelty become commonplace in Magra, and this lawlessness soon spreads to the rest of the Empire. Nathan the Prophet taught the people of the Empire that anyone who violates the law of the twins should pray to them and ask their forgiveness. People were reluctant to believe his words at first until they saw the signs from the gods themselves. Every person who endured a lesser death and went to meet the twins now returned to the mortal world bearing their glad tidings. Gods have learned what it means to forgive, and they shall grant forgiveness to all who sincerely repent and are prepared to right the wrongs they have done. The people of the Empire now have hope, a promise of forgiveness no matter their transgression. Well, I mean, really kind of, it feels like it's taking the typical, the usual process of a rebellion. Like, rebellions I guess the only one I can really compare to would be the American Revolution. Because in that revolution, really people didn't end up there didn't end up becoming famine after the war. But France, like most revolutions story kind of end up like this, where it's rough. immediately after. It gets really rough immediately after. And also, I do think people do end up actually, I think, kind of leaving the cities after a revolution, because really, revolutions tend to be the cities. Cities tend to be be where the revolutions start, where they started, like with the French. United States had revolutions that started in the city. The only one that I don't think started really in a city would be Haiti. Haiti started in the plantations. Can't really think of any others off the top of my head right now. The Archnean commander fought with all his might against the rebellious rabble he so despised. Yet even a skilled swordsman such as he was doomed when confronted with a citywide uprising. The haughty Archnean became Sophia's prisoner, and so his life was forfeit. He spent his final moments in inconceivable agony. Sophia did not permit him to die until his spirit and body were completely and utterly broken. But also, we kind of went the far extreme in this rebellion. We went fucking full-blown Robespierre, Reign of Terror. So, oof. Long after the once invincible Doria Sultan was no more, the corpse of the mighty Archnean remained chained to the Anazat Gate. Oh, that's gross. When Prefect Augustine Elborn saw firsthand the atrocities being committed on the streets of Anazat, he did what he could to urge the people to stop Sophia and her henchmen by any means necessary. He was too late. In the end, Elborn shared the same fate as the last straws of their enemies. The other former judge faced death with dignity, showing no fear before the rebels' muskets. His face expressed only deep, bitter sorrow. Sir Elborn is remembered as one of the ringleaders of the Anazat massacre and the bloodthirsty rebellion that poisoned the entire empire. Leonard railed furiously against the murderous executions perpetrated by Sophia. In an effort to end the massacre, he sought to reconcile the opposing factions. Leonard was labeled an enemy of the revolt. For crimes against the great cause, the People's Court sentenced him to death along with its other perceived foes. He spent his final moments in prayer, tormented by the realization that he had unwillingly helped to precipitate this terrible slaughter. Leonard is remembered by the new believers as the greatest preacher of his day, but among the old believers, he left an undying legacy as a nemesis of the church who violated the twins' divine design. By the time the revolt had set Anazat ablaze, Thomas Guerrero was already living a new life with his family far from the city. It seemed as though he could finally enjoy a peaceful life. But a few months later, the rebellion reached the sleepy village where your friend and his wife had put down roots. A horde of rebels approached the village where they lived, and most of the villagers joined them, eager to loot and pillage their very own community. No! No! Thomas fought desperately for his life and livelihood. He was torn limb from limb by his former neighbor. Oh, we didn't get a good ending, guys. This ending sucks. We fucked up again. Fun fact. Oh, not a fun fact. I should not say fun fact. No, this is a very sad fact. This happened in Poland. In many villages. In a certain time period. Very sad shit. Fuck, I can't remember what the name of the book is. Oh, I think the book is called Neighbors. I literally think the book is called Neighbors. If you want to look it up. Good book. Very sad. But still a good book. History book, by the way. I think it's called Neighbors. The creature that was once Octavia Milonitis left this world forever, but it honored your request and left something behind. Years later, new followers of the Lottery began to emerge throughout the Empire, forming new circles in which to study their strange teachings and seek a way out of the world the twins had created. One by one, they discovered scraps of knowledge scattered across the Empire. But only you knew where this knowledge had originated. Despite the persecution they suffer throughout the Empire, the followers of the Latari refuse to abandon their teachings. The Latari have returned to the world. Yeah, she became like an alien. Well, more like an elf. She transformed. I don't know, but she was still hot. We never banged her as an alien, though, which sucks. Ever since she was young, Sophia had been the living embodiment of hatred, the spawn of every hideous injustice committed in the Empire. She prevailed in struggle for Anazot, and that victory finally revealed her true power. Now Sophia casts her shadow over every corner of the Empire, her eyes blazing with yellow flame, eager to incinerate every army and province in her path. No one can stop Sophia and defeat her bloodthirsty hordes. Damn right, Dory. Damn right. Fucking clip that shit. Please. After the victory in Anazot, the inveterate rebel began a brutal war against the Old Order, a war that had seemed utterly unthinkable just a few years ago. A war of annihilation. Sophia is remembered as the woman who destroyed the blessed Arcanian Empire and burned the whole world to the ground. What about our family? You defended your home from a gang of thugs, but nothing could protect your family from the doom that awaited them soon after. No! When the massacre began, every single member of the But, hold on! By extension, I do... What? I'm aiding them? No! I aided the rebellion, and this is what they do to me! Hold on. I'm the leader of, like, the executions. What is going on? Everything that I did to keep them safe. All that I did. I knew I should have sent them to flee. I knew I should have had them flee. I didn't do it! Don't blame me! The Brontes never sided with rebellion. They paid a terrible price for it. Brante estate was razed to the ground. All who lived within its walls are dead, murdered by the ruthless mob and condemned by the people's court. Even the family crypt was desecrated and destroyed. Committing blasphemy and defiling the final resting place of the dead meant nothing to the crazed looters. The ignoble fate of the Bronte family became a tragic tale told among the people for years to come. Well, shit, this sucks. Your father fought to his last breath to protect his home against a horde of Sophia's bloodthirsty followers in what came to be known as the Anazot Massacre. But in the end, he suffered the same fate as all other enemies of the revolt. In accordance with the verdict of the People's Court, Robert Brante was torn apart by the rabid mob. God. The Anazot Massacre did not spare your mother either. She pleaded with the violent mob until she could breathe no more, but it was not her own life she was trying to save. Lydia also wanted to save the lot-defying commoners from the terrible sins they were so intent on committing. In her last moments, your mother prayed to the twins. She had led a righteous life, and she departed for the twins' final judgment without fear. When the fateful day came, Stefan fought for dear life side by side with your father, just as any true nobleman could have. But his courage and valor were not enough to best a bloodthirsty mob. They mercilessly executed him after murdering your father. Until the very end, Gloria boldly believed that she could convince the rebels surrounding your home that the Brontes were their allies. When the violence began, she finally realized that the time for words had passed. Desperate to protect Robert, she threw herself at the incensed mob attacking her home. But the thugs easily seized the unarmed woman and forced her to her knees to carry out the sentence of the People's Court. When the family home was looted and abandoned, her poems were lost to oblivion. Future generations will not know the works of Gloria Brante. Nathan left Anazot with your blessing, inexplicably managing to escape the city in the middle of the revolt. He then set out on a lengthy journey across the Empire. He emerged unscathed from every danger or hardship he encountered during his travels. It was as though the twins themselves were watching over him. One day, after months of wandering the world as a pilgrim, Nathan suddenly returned to Anazot. Her brother walked to the silver tree where he spoke to the people. He told him about how he had met the elder twin himself, who had descended from on high to walk the world once more. Nathan confessed all his transgressions and sins to him, knowing full well that he would find no mercy, only eternal torment at the foot of the pillar. To his surprise, the elder listened to him with tears in his eyes, filled with compassion for his own creation. He forgave Nathan for all the evils he had done. After his sermon, followers started flocking to Nathan's side. In time, they came to call themselves the Elder's Witnesses. Their teachings began to make their way across the empire. To this day, Nathan's disciples still spread the word. Twin gods have learned forgiveness. What about me? Not even in the afterlife did Gregor Brante see the realization of his great dream. His descendants failed to have the Brante name ennobled by the sword. The Brante bloodline was denied its chance to become one of the Empire's most eminent dynasties. Blood tide ushered in by Gregor Brante would never have another chance at immortality. Nah, fuck Gregor. He's an asshole. Side by side with Sophia, you began the march against the old ways, and the rebellious hordes followed you. No one remembered your old name any longer, but your new name instilled terror in every corner of the Empire. Butcher of Anazot. The cruelty with which you dispatched your enemies became the stuff of legend. Along the way, you faced many powerful foes and crushed them all. Free from fear of death, unafraid of the twins' judgment. Again and again, you emerged from the flames, bringing the common folk the freedom they so coveted, and they fought for you until they bled their last. You, the Butcher of Anazot, became a flame that incinerated the monstrous, decrepit husk of an empire until nothing remained. But it was not your fate to see whether or not a new world would rise from the ashes of the old. So ends the life and suffering of Ryan Brante. Why did I die? How did I die? The hour of your death has come. Your soul has left your body, never to return. You are taken to the peak of the shining pillar. Every moment separates you more and more from the mortal realm. The link that once bound you to it is gone forever. You look up to see two divine visages watching you intently. The elder twin gazes upon you, full of sorrow and compassion. The younger examines you dispassionately, seeing your every act and thought. You have ascended from the mortal realm. From here you are but one step away from partaking in eternal bliss atop the peak of the shining pillar. Yep, we've read this before. When we died the first time. I'm glad my life is over. Fuck. No gratitude whatsoever to my creators. My mortal life was mine and mine alone. They hear your answer. Compassion and remorse fill the immeasurably deep eyes of the elder twin. He turns to face his divine brother, who turns his gaze with an expression of stern remorse. What was your life to you? Struggle. I struggled. The elder twin bows his head. Human by the name of, what did you live for? Freedom. Freedom. The younger's gaze lingers on your bare, defenseless soul. The divine figure continues its stern interrogation. What did you believe behind? Change. The younger twin now moves towards you with clear intent, poised to render his judgment. But the elder twin restrains his brother with a gesture. The divine voice fills you once. Did your life make the world we made better and more perfect? Oh no. You know what? It became better. The younger twin is silent, his eyes, two swords piercing your soul. The elder twin speaks to you again. We already know the question, the very same question that caused you so much suffering shortly before your true and final death. What determined your destiny? Myself. I did. Then the hand of the elder twin. Would you take a different path in life? No. You reject the hand of the elder. The immense, divine silhouette withdraws in sorrow. Therefore, leaving you to face his law alone. Twin's judgment is nearing its end. The soul of a man named Brante lies prostrate at your feet. You have witnessed his entire life, known his every act, seen his every thought and desire. No other soul could ever walk the same path. So many difficult choices, so many emotions, so much pain. Another soul awaits your judgment. You know no mercy, nor does your brother. Every mortal must walk the path chosen for him to the very end. Those who abide by this precept set forth by you and your brothers shall return to you and become a part of you. Those who reject you shall know the eternal suffering of oblivion. Where does the man named Ryan Brante deserve? The peak of the pillar, of course. You gingerly grasp the fragile soul, lift it up, and turn to face your elder brother. You lift your sword. Your brother stands with arms akimbo, ready for the blow. The blade slices through his chest, blinding light gushes from the gash. You bring the minuscule soul to your brother's chest, and it dissolves in the streams of shimmering luminescence. A tiny fragment of your shared creation has rejoined the whole. Man named Brante is no more. There is only the eternal fount in which he now abides. End life. That was a good game. That was a good game. That was a really good game. Goddamn. Wow. Huh. But how do you get the... There's one called... Live your entire life without ever looking back? What the heck does that mean? I want to look this up. From birth till death. No one tells me. Okay. The internet won't die. Don't die? No, because there's a different achievement. Literally right above it where it says deathless. Reach the end of your path without suffering a single lesser death. Now let's watch that clip. Yeah, she became like an alien. Well, more like an elf. She transformed. I don't know, but she was still hot. We never banged her as an alien, though, which sucks. Yeah, she became... I love it. I love it. Thank you, Dory. The sad face at the end. We never got to bang the hot alien. Honestly, this is a 9 out of 10 for me. And now there are gonna be people that hear this and they're gonna be salty because I gave a fucking choose your own adventure game over a higher score than Red Dead 2. And I'll anger more people. For me, and in terms of enjoyment of the story, and if I just compare these two based on the stories for my own personal enjoyment, Red Dead drops to a 7, and this game still remains a 9. Now, of course, if we were to compare gameplay, Red Dead's a 10. Like I said before, Red Dead has a 10 out of 10 gameplay. Kinda. Even though I am sick of Rockstar gameplay, the open world makes up for the boring gameplay. The hunting gameplay was fantastic in Red Dead 2. But overall, I enjoyed this game much more. And I think part of that, though, has to do with Red Dead 2 took me, and I was like going fast through Red Dead 2, especially in the last like 10 hours of the game, or last 20 hours of the game. I was kind of like just doing the story. So I kind of sped through it a bit. But even then, trying to go through the story quickly, for me, it still felt like it dragged a bit. It felt too long in many places, but then in other parts, it felt short. I don't know. Like, I'm conflicted on that. But here, this game felt pretty properly paced. because that's what happens in a civil war, in a rebellion, like in when a war breaks out, shit happens really fast. Now, of course, realistically, um the Legion would not have been able to an Imperial Legion I don't think would have been capable really of reaching a city in rebellion that fast. But, this is a fantasy world where there is some slight magic and two gods that do exist. So, if we take that into account, right, I think it's then you can have a suspension of disbelief and accept that the Legion is able to get there fast enough. Or perhaps you could even look at it in the way that the Legion was mustered too fast, and since they rushed to the walls of Anazot, they weren't able to properly get a strong force together, strong enough force together, kind of like what happens with Harold Godwinson in 1066 when going to face William the Conqueror. He rushes. He doesn't try and get together a full force. He rushes to fight William the Conqueror in battle because William is doing shit, raiding and pillaging the land of around southern England, stuff where he landed at Hastings and whatnot. But yeah, this game, I do feel like this is one of those few games where I think I can confidently say that my choices mattered. However, I like the balance that this game had with our choices mattering. There were some choices that really ultimately did not affect things. Is there an Iron Man in this game mode in this game? Technically no, but also yes. Where you turn off seeing the consequences, you can do that. And you can also turn off the ability to start chapters over when you start a new chapter. When you start a game. Check Discord then. Oh, let me guess, that's the thing I needed. Yep. Okay. That's what I had. Okay. Yeah. Once you started saying that stuff, Dory, I was like, Tarada. Fuck, I'm mixing up words. I'm sorry. I'm tired. And once you started saying that stuff, I was like, yeah. Wow. Hey! You guys both have purple names, okay? It's not my fault. All right? And you both have the GlitchCon 2020 thing, all right? The only thing that Dory has over Tarada is that Dory is a VIP and has the founder badge. I will fight you fuckers. I will fight you both. Put them up. Yeah, honestly, I think I'm gonna probably play this game on my own and stuff. To see the other endings and stuff. This was a lot of fun. Of course, my voice is dead. That's great. But yeah, no, it was really enjoyable. Really well paced. I felt like. I kind of also like how one thing that I actually really liked, even though it is painful to witness, is your actions end up spiraling and you end up just having to go along with your mistakes of the past, and you just have to go along down that spiral. And that's essentially what happened to us with the becoming the Butcher of Anazot. We just had to stick. Now, of course, we could have denied Sophia, but that meant we would have died. And we don't want to die, right? Right? It was really interesting to see that, for that to happen. It was really there was I felt like they had a really good balance of the player affecting things, but then also the player's past, like the player being able to affect his present, but then also the player's past affecting his present. I thought they had a pretty good balance of that in this game. Of course, they're like, I'm not ultimately I'm not salty. Like when I would get to a spot and I was blocked off from a choice, ultimately I wasn't salty because the reason that I couldn't pick that decision was because of me. It wasn't because of the game. It was because of me that I was unable to make certain decisions at certain points. So like, can't blame the game for that. Also, I went into this expecting this game to just be like a basic, kind of late medieval society game. I didn't expect this to be in their like own unique world where they had the nuances of religion. I felt they really did a great job at tackling religion in this game and how the player is able to address uh, religion and how they feel about it in their own way. You can reject the religion, you can embrace the religion, you can be like kind of down the middle of the religion, and then also the internal struggles of the society itself in this game. I thought they created a really cool world here. And honestly, I think this is a world that this developer should write more in. Like honestly, this society that I witnessed here with that religion and the culture and the society that I witnessed in this game, I would buy a book and read it. I would buy if they were to write a full-blown novel, I would buy it and read it. Because their ideas in this game are solid, and I thought their writing, despite having grammatical and spelling errors throughout the game, which did throw off the pacing a bit, which is why I one of the reasons that I dropped the game to a 9 out of 10. Um, Despite that, I still felt like the story was really well told. And then the soundtrack in this game, beautiful. I thought it was an amazing soundtrack. Yeah, I pretty much just got praises for this game. The biggest negative thing that stood out to me, of course, was the spelling errors and grammatical mistakes. And that's only because, I'm reading the words out loud and that disrupts the flow, right? So really, maybe if I wasn't reading it out loud, maybe I wouldn't have noticed them as much. Because I know that happens sometimes when I'm reading books. You'll spot a grammatical error or a spelling mistake that snuck through the editing. But like you're reading it, it's like you kind of just glance over it. Here, when speaking it out loud, kind of a bit more front and center, in my opinion. We're gonna raid a Mr. Clay Frank. We're gonna throw y'all back to him since he raided me earlier. I'm gonna throw him a raid. It's fucking yeah. Thank you guys for showing up. I will probably be live tomorrow night. I will not be live Friday night because Friday night is Ryan's D&D night. But yeah, I think we might play Suzerain next. That's another kind of text-based game, but like, I kind of want to play it. I kind of want to play through all my text-based games. Ryan, you got to come up with a raid message. No, I don't. Oh! I know. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? That's it. Change your icon. Oh, Prime Gaming. All right, guys. Thank you for showing up. And thank you for the clip, Dory. I hope to see you guys tomorrow night if I am live. If I'm not live, then I will probably see you Saturday. Goodbye, and enjoy Destiny 2.